Do you know how the 36 bandits and the outcast came to be? I can tell you. It all started with just a note from Wu Jianxing. 35 heroes traveled thousands of miles to gather. Not only that, they formed a sworn brotherhood. These 35 people came from different sections. Some were even sworn enemies, especially since Wu Jianxing, head of the Quan clan, was hated by many. What could have made them bury their grudges and form unity to not only coexist peacefully but become sworn brothers? What kind of experience and opportunity led them to the revelation of the 8 miracles, which in turn sparked the rebellion of the false bodies, and even in the outcast world, unleashed a bloody battle over the 8 miracles. From then on, these 36 people were known in the martial world as the 36 bandits. Let us witness those burning years of passion together, and the glory they once created. According to Su Xian's recollection, it was probably in the 1930s. He and his senior brother Dongchang were traveling outside the mountain and witnessed a murder. Because the other side outnumbered them, neither he nor Dongchang dared to intervene. After the attacker, Su Xian finally spoke. He asked Dongchang, "Are you sure the killer was Jin Duzi Huangfang?" Dongchang answered firmly, "Absolutely. It was that Quan clan freak." Su Xian asked again, "And the other two?" Dongchang shook his head. "No idea." Even though they didn't make a move, their presence made it clear. They were Quan clan elites too. The two then crouched down to examine the corpse. Huangfang's killing method was brutal beyond words. Furious, Su Xian exclaimed, "That Quan clan freak really is a beast worthy of execution." At this moment, Dongchang instructed Su Xian, "Return to the sect and report everything to the head." Su Xian countered, "Just me? What about you?" Dongchang said he had personal matters to attend to, so he couldn't return with him. Hearing that, Su Xian flatly refused. "If you want to go back, go yourself. I'm not going." Dongchang snapped, "You rebelling now? If you won't go back, then where are you going?" Su Xian answered, "I'm going to eliminate those 3 freaks." Hearing that, Dongchang first chuckled, then laughed out loud. What a reckless calf. Going to take out 3 people? Just that Jin Duzi Huangfang alone. Even the 2 of us combined wouldn't be his match. Not to mention the other 2. Definitely no pushovers either. But Su Xian said casually, "We're from the Tang sect. It's not like we're going to fight them head on, no matter how skilled they are. This is our Tang sect's territory. Are you scared, senior brother?" Dongchang didn't argue. He said, "Of course I'm scared. I fear the sect rules. Our Tang sect forbids private duels with outsiders. Without a commission, we're not allowed to take lives, regardless of right or wrong." But Su Xian argued back, "That's just the founders' empty words from back then. You guys really take that as sacred law?" After saying that, Su Xian handed Dongchang 2 large pills. "How about this? I'll give you everything I have to hire you to take out those 3. Dongchang smirked at that. You little brat. You really don't play by the rules." He then waved his hand. "All right, let's go." But Su Xian suddenly grabbed Dongchang's arm. "Wait, I hired you. You can go. But what about me? You need to hire me too. Otherwise, how would I go?" "TCH, you're really naggy." Fine. These $2 take them. Consider it me hiring you." But unexpectedly, Su Xian refused. He said $2 were too little. He demanded 5. Dongchang angrily asked, "Stop what?" Su Xian replied, "You're richer than me, senior brother. Besides, I just hired you for $2. You didn't complain. It's business, after all. Ask for the sky, settle for the ground. You hired me for $2, but I'm not doing it anymore. I want 5. That's perfectly reasonable. If you think it's too expensive, then neither of us should go." Hearing this, Dongchang cursed angrily. "Fine, Su Xian, you may be small, but you sure are cunning. Just you wait, brat." Then the 2 of them continued tracking. They reached a fork in the road. Judging the footprints, Dongchang believed they went left. They kept tracking while discussing. "There's no way we can beat them head on. If those 2 are on par with Huangfang, even an ambush would be risky. Ambushing them could still get us killed." Then Dongchang added, "Based on observing the trio earlier, they looked so relaxed, as if they weren't in a rush. They just robbed someone for travel money, so it doesn't seem like a planned trip. Looks like they're not targeting our Tang sect." Hearing that, Su Xian scoffed. "If they were targeting our Tang sect, why would it involve just the 2 of us? We have plenty of experts in the sect." Dongchang continued, "That fork leads to the They chose the left path, which means they don't know the area well. The left path is the longer way into town, and the only inn on that road is run by our Tang sect." The brothers made a plan. They'd take the mountain shortcut and arrive ahead of them. They reached the Tang sect inn first. Not long after, at the Tang sect inn, Su Xian, the assistant, and Dongchang, the manager, welcomed their targets. As the 3 entered the inn, the leader, Huangfang, shouted, "I'm starving. Bring me your best food and wine." Su Xian quickly stepped forward and invited them to sit. Dongchang nodded quietly to himself. He thought, Su Xian hasn't been in the Tang sect long, but he's pretty good at hiding his aura. His voice shows no nerves, and his steps are nicely chaotic. After they sat down, the man in yellow said, "Big brother, since we got paid, there's no need to kill the guy." Huangfang replied coldly, "What do you mean? Not happy about it?" The man in yellow lowered his head and mumbled nervously, "No, not at all." At that moment, the man in light clothes chimed in, "Brother, you and I just joined the Quan clan. We used to think there were no rules, but after joining, we realized some rules are just unwritten. One of them is, when dealing with fellow members, if you don't like them, just kill them. Hearing this, the man in yellow nodded meekly. I understand. As they were talking, Su Xian brought out the food and wine, but just as he placed them on the table, the man in light clothing said, speaking of killing, this place isn't far from the Tang sect, right? Hearing that, Huang Fong loudly called out. Just as Su Xian was about to step forward, Dong Chong suddenly held Su Xian back, saying, the kid's still young. If we've been poor hosts, I'll apologize. The two had already planned it out. When it came to the deed, Dong Chong would take the lead, since Su Xian was still new and lacked finesse. By now, Huang Fong had filled a big bowl of wine and handed it to Dong Chong, saying, the food and drink look good. First bowl of wine, first bite of food. You take it, boss. Dong Chong quickly feigned confusion, but Huang Fong raised the bowl, his eyes glinting coldly, and said, drink it. Dong Chong waved his hands, saying, sir, how could I? No way, no way. Huang Fong snapped, cut the talk. Drink. But Dong Chong still acted reluctant. Then the light-robed man spoke up. Boss, you'd better listen to my brother. He's got a temper. Dong Chong had to take the bowl and slowly drink, but inside, he was calmly thinking, everything's going according to the script. Huang Fong, a seasoned underworld vet, would be extra cautious. Poison might be colorless, odorless, but slipping it into food for someone like Huang Fong wasn't a sure bet. Still, no matter how slick you are, give us Tang Min a shot at promotion, and we'll whip up fresh, top-grade poison wine on the spot. As the script played out, once Dong Chong got close to the three, Su Xian would draw their attention. Then Su Xian suddenly asked, you three mentioned Tang Min earlier? I got Huang Fong and the light-robed man's attention right away. While pouring wine, Dong Chong seized the moment, his thumb lightly grazing the jug's contents. A faint trace of poison, barely detectable, slipped into the jug. Meanwhile, Huang Fong started chatting with Su Xian, asking, you know about Tang Min, kid? Su Xian replied, who doesn't? They live up in the hills near. Elders say their skills are top-notch. But Dong Chang's heart was racing. He'd nearly slipped up. The yellow-robed man wasn't distracted by Su Xian at all, but kept watching Dong Chang's every move coldly. Dong Chong steeled himself, whether he noticed my move or not. Once Tang Min strikes, someone's going down, them or us. I'm ready either way. As Dong Chong resolved himself, Huang Fong, hearing Su Xian's words, laughed heartily. Yeah, those Tang Min bastards got skills, no doubt. Then he grabbed his, saying to his two tablemates, come on, cheers. The three raised their bowls and gulped down the wine, seeing them drink it all. Su Xian thought, it's done. The infamous golden hook Quan falls to us today. But right then, Huang Fong, fresh off his bowl, suddenly shouted, boss. Then he hurled his bowl, leaping up at the same time, charging at Dong Chong and Su Xian. The light-robed man at the table, burly and sharp-eyed, asked, brother Huang, what's up? Huang Fong shot back, this place is trouble. As he spoke, Huang Fong was already airborne, closing in on Dong Chong. But Dong Chong, with a swift punch, smashed the bowl Huang Fong threw. At the same time, his other hand swiftly flicks, and in the blink of an eye, a shadow dart flies out from his sleeve. But just as Dong Chong is about to grasp the shadow dart, Huang Fong's golden hook hand latches onto Dong Chang's arm first, disrupting his chance to seize the dart. In this split second, on the other side, Su Xian faces off against a lightly clad man. Su Xian and the lightly clad man both leap high into the air, but at the same moment, they, along with Dong Chong, are struck. Su Xian takes a punch to the abdomen from the lightly clad man, while Dong Chong is hit in the chest by Huang Fong's hooking palm. Yet neither retreats a single step, for the Tang sect's creed is to fight to the death once engaged. Dong Chang's right sleeve shakes, and another shadow dart flies out. Trading injury for injury, he pierces Huang Fong's brow, then immediately joins Su Xian, who is relentlessly unleashing hidden weapons. He hurls the shadow dart in his hand, while the lightly clad man is forced back by Su Xian's barrage of hidden weapons. Before long, the lightly clad man, overwhelmed by poison, succumbs and dies. But Su Xian and Dong Chong fail to notice the lightly clad man's final subtle move. With a flick of his wrist, a handful of nails appears in his palm. Then, with two fingers pointing upward, the nails vanish. However, Dong Chong and Su Xian are focused on the yellow-clad man who hasn't made a move. Dong Chong quickly instructs Su Xian to check on the yellow-clad man's condition. But Su Xian suddenly feels a sharp pain in his abdomen and collapses to his knees, coughing up a large amount of blood. Still gasping, Dong Chong says, my heart meridian is damaged. I can't move. The one in yellow drank the least wine. He's likely poisoned and immobilized now. Go finish him off quickly. Su Xian, blood still dripping from his mouth, nods hurriedly, then crawls laboriously toward the yellow-clad man. This was his first encounter with Wu Gensheng. Wu Gensheng's first impression on him was mysterious, unfathomable, and that impression has persisted to this day. After Su Xian and Dong Chong teamed up to take down Huang Fong and the lightly clad man, they turned their attention to the yellow-clad man who had remained seated. Dong Chong said, the one in yellow hasn't gotten up. Go check if he's poisoned. Su Xian nodded and murmured assent. starting to move toward the yellow-clad man. But after taking just one step, he felt a sharp pain in his abdomen, and his legs gave way, collapsing to his knees. With a groan, he spat out a pool of blood. Seeing Su Xian vomit blood, Dong Chong said, "Can you still move? My heart meridian is damaged. I'm completely immobilized." The one in yellow drank the least wine. He's probably poisoned and unable to move. Hurry and finish him off. Su Xian didn't speak, nodding slightly, and began crawling slowly toward the yellow-clad man. As Su Xian got closer to the yellow-clad man, he realized the man wasn't poisoned at all. He was watching them like a spectator at a play. Seeing Su Xian crawl over, he suddenly stood up. He merely bent down behind the counter to pick something up. It was a straw hat that had fallen during the fight. After picking up the hat, he left the inn, leaving behind the wreckage of the inn, the bodies of his two companions, and the faint breathing of the Su Xian brothers. But shortly after he left, urgent footsteps echoed from outside. Then he was seen, clutching his stomach, returning the way he came. Holding his stomach, he urgently asked, "Heroes, you two heroes. Outhouse. Where's the outhouse?" Dong Chong just glanced at him. Seeing Dong Chong silent, he muttered to himself, "Can't wait anymore. I'll handle it in the kitchen." Then, from the kitchen, came a rumble like rivers overturning and yellow river bursting. The smell from the kitchen was fully received by Su Xian crawling back toward Dong Chong. He was so furious, he cursed loudly. "Smells like hell, you bastard." And just like that, it went on, for several minutes straight. Only then did the man in yellow walk out of the kitchen. Then he offered Dong Chong a deal. If Dong Chong cured his explosive diarrhea, he would spare Dong Chong and Su Xian. But Dong Chong said he'd never make a deal with a Quan clan freak. Upon hearing this, the man in yellow scratched the back of his head and muttered, "Then I'll have to bear it and find a doctor in town." But seeing Su Xian trembling in pain on the ground, Dong Chong suddenly changed his mind. He quickly called out to the man in yellow, "Don't you want to avenge your comrades?" But the man in yellow said, "Why should I avenge them?" Dong Chong asked again, "Aren't you curious why we attacked?" The man in yellow replied, "If you attacked, you must have had your reasons, but they're already dead. So what's the point?" Hearing this, Dong Chong sneered, "Truly a monster, not an ounce of brotherhood." But the man in yellow replied, "When we joined the Quan clan, we knew, one day, chickens would be slaughtered everywhere. If you're killed, it just means your road ends there. On the other hand, you two attacked us with full force. You chose this road yourselves, and now that you're badly wounded, if I hadn't been shitting nonstop and completely drained, I wouldn't have come back for you. So really, arguing is pointless. You give me the antidote, I'll treat your injuries. Let's just call it a trade." But hearing this, Dong Chong was confused. "Why would you be poisoned by me?" Seeing Dong Chong puzzled, the man in yellow laughed. "I've got a special ability. I noticed when you poisoned me, you two were playing off each timing and technique were flawless. Then I thought, rare chance to witness a Tang sect trick. Those who saw it before all died. So I figured I'd try some Tang sect poison. But I was afraid it'd be too strong, so I took just a little." After saying that, he added with an awkward smile, "Still got poisoned in the end. Your gas poison. You refined it in the body with medicine, right? I can handle the gas part, but the medicinal part, not a clue how to deal with that." As soon as he finished, Su Xian, still lying there, suddenly shouted, "I don't need your help. You saved my senior brother. I'll give you the antidote." The man in yellow laughed and replied, "You better just stay down, kid. Even if I wanted to save you, I couldn't. The Lu guy you killed was from Wild Hair Mountain. You triggered his death mark. The illusion needles he scattered as he died, they all entered your body. You're full of iron needles now. You'd better lie flat and not move at all. Later, find a Wild Hair Mountain expert to remove them for you. If you move recklessly, you'll be shredded from the inside." Hearing that his belly was now full of iron, Su Xian's expression fell. He immediately lay flat on the ground obediently. He didn't dare move a muscle. Seeing Su Xian immediately lie flat, the man in yellow laughed heartily. "Obedient. I like you, kid." Then he began treating Dong Chang's injuries. He said he was healing him, but only placed his hand on Dong Chang's head. He even told Dong Chang. Seeing Dong Chang's puzzled face, he explained that cultivators who had trained for years had fixed energy flow patterns in their meridians. But once the heart meridian was injured, that same flow would now harm the body. So he was using his energy along with medicine to help treat Dong Chang. But it was still external interference, which could have negative side effects. That's why Dong Chang had to release all his energy, letting his entire meridian system come to a halt. Then the body would know how to respond. Letting the body repair itself naturally was the most reliable method, and all the man in yellow did was give a push when the body was too weak to act on its own. As Dong Chang spat out a mouthful of old blood, he immediately felt much more relaxed. Even his breathing had cleared up. Seeing that Dong Chang had mostly recovered, the man in yellow held his stomach and asked for the antidote. He was also curious what poison Dong Chang had crafted. Dong Chang only told him it included croton seed. Dong Chang then asked, "Aren't you afraid I gave you poison instead of an antidote?" Just as Dong Chang was about to say more, he saw that the man in yellow had already tossed the pill into his mouth and was chewing it with gusto. With the transaction complete, the man in yellow offered to go to the Tang sect and deliver a message for Dong Chang and Su Xian. Help would likely arrive before dawn. Suddenly, Dong Chang asked, "What's your name?" The man in yellow didn't answer. He asked in return, "What about you two?" Just then, Su Xian, still lying down, interrupted. We're from the Tang sect. No way we'd casually tell you. Our names, you Quan clan freak. Hearing this, the man in yellow burst into laughter right back at you. He left them a take care, then disappeared beyond the door. The scene faded. Time returned to the present. Su Xian continued speaking. That was my first encounter with Wu Jiansheng. In the years that followed, though we didn't meet again, the martial world began to buzz with tales of Wu Jiansheng, a young man with no sect or lineage, gaining recognition from Quan clan leaders. They said he'd mastered the divine spirit of the Nether, single-handedly challenging the Sani sect, defeating their head, the Great Silver Immortal. At the time, we heard the news and just thought Wu Jiansheng was amazing. We never connected him to that strange guy we met. But then came June 1940. Su Xian paused briefly, then continued. It was in June 1940 when we met again. That's when I realized he was Wu Jiansheng. That day, the sect master had accepted a mission to assassinate Dongyang's Biha hermit. Su Xian, Dongchang, and Gao Yingkai were ambushed by Biha fighters at the suspension bridge. Combat broke out. A fierce battle broke out. Gao Yingkai ordered Su Xian and Dongchang to retreat first. He would stay behind to block the enemies. But during Su Xian's moment of hesitation, they missed the best chance to escape. In the blink of an eye, they were completely surrounded by the Biha fighters. Not long after, Gao Yingkai was severely wounded by one of the demonic warriors of Biha. Just as it looked like they were done for, two figures emerged from the woods, bailing them out. One of them, a man, was even holding a pistol. After getting down a few Biha tribesmen, he strolled towards Su Xian's group, grinning, muttering to himself. Left hand aims, right hand draws. I'm the gun on top, gun on lock. Bang bang, let it rock. Though years had passed, Su Xian recognized him instantly. That time they tried to kill Golden Hook. This guy left too deep an impression. After a chaotic brawl, Bai Xiao was backstabbed and killed by Gao Yingkai. But Gao Yingkai got beheaded by a demon. Su Xian and the others barely escaped. But just as they reached safety, Wu Jiansheng collapsed. Su Xian and Dongchang rushed to check on him. Turned out Wu Jiansheng had a gunshot wound, likely hours old. It had been patched up sloppily, still bleeding nonstop. As Su Xian and Dongchang stood helpless, guerrilla comrades arrived just in time. Seeing Wu Jiansheng unconscious and gravely wounded, the guerrillas stepped in, extracting the bullet and dressing the wound. Once the wound was handled, Su Xian and Dongchang thanked the guerrillas and carried Wu Jiansheng away. But then they hit a snag. What to do with this Chuansheng demon? Leaving him with might cause them trouble. They debated for ages, coming up empty. So they found a hideout, planning to wait for Wu. With his wound properly treated, Wu Jiansheng soon stirred, but his first words, eyes barely open, were aimed at Su Xian and Dongchang. Ow! The wound stopped hurting. You two got some skills. Picking up the thread, after the guerrillas fixed Wu Jiansheng's gunshot, Su Xian and Dongchang hauled him off. But they hit a snag. What to do with this Chuansheng demon? Leaving him with might cause them trouble. They debated for ages, coming up empty. So they found a hideout, planning to wait for Wu. With his wound properly treated, Wu Jiansheng soon stirred, but his first words, eyes barely open, were aimed at Su Xian and Dongchang. Ow! The wound stopped hurting. You two got some skills. Hearing this, Su Xian snapped back. You 1,000-year plague. We could leave you be, and you'd still cling to life. Then Su Xian asked, what's today's deal? Why is Chuansheng here? As Wu Jiansheng fumbled for an answer, Dongchang jumped in. Friend, you're Wu Jiansheng, right? Wu Jiansheng's face darkened. How'd you know it's me? Turns out, over the years, word of Wu Jiansheng's deeds had reached their ears. Folks said, a guy named Wu Jiansheng took Chuansheng's acting boss role. Who'd have thought? Once he stepped up, Chuansheng, once a scattered mess, actually rallied behind him. Even Chuansheng's notorious demons, after dealing with him, they gradually calmed down. And that's not all. The Chuansheng demon, who joined a monastery 3 times and killed several Wang clan elders, Moming Jusher, was spotted not long ago with Wu Jiansheng. Plenty of folks saw them together. Later, the Wang clan sent people to hunt them down, but in the end, they managed to escape. Sometime later, that nameless scholar went to the Wang family alone. What happened next is a matter of much debate. Some say the nameless scholar was tortured to death by the Wang family. Others claim he debated with the Wang family patriarch and perished after 7 days. But one thing is certain. After the nameless scholar's death, the Wang family built a temple in his honor. What's most unexpected is that the old Wang family patriarch ended up becoming a monk in that very temple. Hearing Su Xian's account, Wu Jiansheng doesn't argue. He then says, those troublesome people all met good ends. Isn't that a good thing for everyone? Does it really matter what exactly happened? But Su Xian's eyes widen, a flash of killing intent in them. It's great that those dangerous people are gone, but it also proves something else. You, Wu Jiansheng, who can influence them, are even more dangerous. Hearing this, Wu Jiansheng calmly responds, why must you assume that someone who can control those Chuansheng lunatics must be some all-powerful, scheming mastermind? In truth, I'm just whether it's the nameless scholar or Bai Xiao, the paths they took to reach this point were the results of their own choices. At these words, Su Xian scoffs. Two highly skilled Chuanqing fiends chose to die for no reason? You're fooling no one. Wu Jinsheng, uninterested in continuing the topic, asks instead, I still don't know your names. Su Xian snaps back. I told you last time. I'm not telling you. Why do you keep asking? Wu Jinsheng sighs helplessly. Then I'll just call you Tang Sect Assassins. But as renowned Tang Sect Assassins, when you encountered me, a Chuanqing fiend, you didn't keep your distance. Yet you saved me instead. Did I order you to do that? Did I make you to choose a path against the Tang Sect's ways? Wu Jinsheng questions Su Xian and Dongchang. What are your names? Su Xian. I told you last time. I won't tell you. Why do you keep asking? Wu Jinsheng repeats, resigned. Then I'll call you Tang Sect Assassins. But as esteemed Tang Sect Assassins, when you met me, a Chuanqing fiend, you didn't steer clear or try to eliminate me. Instead, you saved me. Did I instruct you to do that? Did I make you to choose a path that defies the Tang Sect? Su Xian falls silent for a moment, then fires back. Today I've seen it all. The Chuanqing deputy leader is a master of empty talk. Believe it or not, I'll cut your tongue out right now. Wu Jinsheng quickly pleads. No, please. It's not as complicated as you think. It turns out Wu Jinsheng had stumbled upon news that Mr. Zhao planned to deal with the ninja. Though risky, it was a righteous cause. So Wu Jinsheng wanted to lend a hand. But because of his Chuanqing identity, Mr. Zhao would never accept his help. Fortunately, Mr. Zhao had a weakness for women, so Wu Jinsheng sent someone. With a touch of persuasion, that night, Mr. Zhao spilled the entire plan. But when Mr. Zhao mentioned the Tang Sect, Wu Jinsheng thought of Su Xian, who had assassinated Huang Fang years ago, poisoning with a mere breath. Their timing was flawless. So perfect that even a master like Huang Fang didn't notice. Afterward, Wu Jinsheng gathered the Quan clan members who were willing to join in on the excitement. As long as they came to kill the shinobi, that was enough. As for why they came, Wu Jinsheng didn't care. Besides, Wu Jinsheng had no control over them. As for the timing of the strike, it was chosen for the day the Tang Sect was also preparing to act, because the shinobi would never suspect that the actions of Quan clan and Tang Sect were completely unrelated. So they'd never imagine that after one wild frontal assault, there would still be a deadly sneak attack. Yet after that bloody battle, only Wu Jinsheng and Bai Xiao remained of the Quan clan's group. The two then hid near the Tang Sect's retreat zone, wanting to see the outcome of the operation. After listening to Wu Jinsheng's explanation, Su Xian and Dongchang were speechless. Then Su Xian asked again, what was with Bai Xiao's final move? Wu Jinsheng spread his hands and replied, Bai Xiao and that senior of the Tang Sect seem to have some history, but I don't know the specifics. Not getting a satisfactory answer, Su Xian grew more and more frustrated. Just as he was thinking of how to make Wu Jinsheng talk, a whistle suddenly sounded from somewhere unknown. Upon hearing the whistle, Wu Jinsheng said, Quan clan folks are here to pick us up. You two should hide for now. Not long after, Su Xian and Dongchang, hiding on a nearby hill, saw a man walking toward Wu Jinsheng. Seeing the man arrive, Wu Jinsheng asked, Brother Gao, why are you alone? Gao Jin replied, we didn't know where you ran off to. Everyone split up to look for you. Then Gao Jin continued, Jin Feng was drugged by Xiao Liuxin. She couldn't follow you. And then she didn't see you at the rendezvous. She's probably going crazy by now. Hearing this, Wu Jinsheng let out a sinister chuckle. Then the two fell into silence. Eventually, Wu Jinsheng broke the silence and asked, since you joined the Quan clan, Gao Jin, isn't this the first time we've been alone together? Once a high-ranking disciple of the rejected stream, now a so-called freak, hated even by former comrades. Do you regret it? Gao Jin answered, what's there to regret? Did you hit your head? What kind of nonsense are you saying? After a brief silence, Wu Jinsheng said, today I really did go through many battles, brushes with death. But I don't know if it's just an illusion. To me, the most dangerous moment is probably right now. Hearing that, Gao Jin didn't say a word. He just kept staring silently at Wu Jinsheng. Even Su Xian and Dongchang in the distance could sense a faint killing intent. A silence fell over the cave. Eventually Wu Jinsheng broke it again and asked, 3 years ago it was Lai Ho. 2 years ago Meng Fang. A few months ago Lu Tianliang. How did those 3 disciples die? Hearing that, Gao Jin cracked his neck loudly. If you had shut your mouth, I might have really taken you back. But now it looks like you've had enough of living. The moment Gao Jin finished, Wu Jinsheng shouted, who doesn't want to live? I want to live. 500 years isn't enough. 1,000 years is just a warm-up. I'll take whatever I can get. But the problem is, can you bastards let me live in peace? Anyone in the Quan clan isn't easy to deal with. I've been avoiding you, not exposing you. Just waiting for you old man to come clean. You think I had it easy? Having to guard against you every day. But after all that calculating, I didn't expect that when I was seriously injured, it would be Wu Jinsheng's joking tone. That suddenly threw everything off. Gao Jin falls silent again. Wu Jinsheng continues. This time, I didn't stop you from coming. Just had that kid Gu Jining follow you. But where the hell did that kid go? When I'm dead, I'll haunt him first to settle the score. After a long pause, Wu Jinsheng slowly asks, what have you been doing all these years? It turns out Gao Jin mastered powerful skills in the abandoned stream to pursue his goal of punishing evil and promoting good. Since Chuanqing is full of evildoers, there's no better place to infiltrate than Chuanqing. Understanding Gao Jin's intentions, Wu Jinxing asks, half amused, "So you're the abandoned stream's undercover agent?" But Gao Jin's response is that to avoid being exposed, he played his role too well and genuinely betrayed the abandoned stream. He doesn't care about others' opinions of him, but over the years, he's found Chuanqing harder to understand, and Wu Jinxing even more so. Chuanqing's acting leader, Wu Jinxing sighs and replies, "Old Gao, you're not the ruler of the world, nor do you aspire to lead Chuanqing. You probably haven't settled down either. How the heavens should deal with Chuanqing, or what kind of leader Chuanqing needs, aren't your concerns, but to cultivate peace and order. At least the last person should know. If your way of life is to punish evil, then make a decision now. Am I evil?" At this, Gao Jin falls silent again, and so, one lying down, one standing, they remain for a long time. Suddenly, Gao Jin breaks the silence, asking, "If I let you go today, will you expose me to our sect?" Continuing the conversation, Gao Jin breaks the silence again, asking, "If I let you go today, will you expose me to our sect?" Wu Jinxing furrows his brow, feigning deep thought, and stays silent for a while. Seeing this, Gao Jin shouts, "Damn it, speak already." Wu Jinxing finally says, "Are you sure your entire life is dedicated to punishing evil? For someone whose path is to punish evil, what virtue should they uphold? Is it merely judging, based on how much a threat someone poses, to decide whether to eliminate them?" Hearing this, Gao Jin is left speechless, stunned in place. Wu Jinxing continues, "Gao Jin, you're still worried? Have you figured out your own path? What is your virtue?" Then Wu Jinxing bursts into laughter, saying as he laughs, "You didn't just infiltrate Chuanqing, you're a damn Chuanqing through and through." His laughter grows louder, until he's rolling on the ground. Gao Jin, seeing this, is furious, veins bulging, ready to give him a hard slap. But Wu Jinxing suddenly stops laughing, his face turning grave, and says slowly, "You'd better decide quickly whether to kill or save me, because I laughed too hard, and my wound might have reopened." At that, Gao Jin steps forward, grabs Wu Jinxing by the neck, and lifts him up, saying, "You're right. Whether you expose me is your business. But today, I'll let you live. From now on, I'll keep an eye on you. If one day I decide you deserve to die, I won't hesitate to take you out." Wu Jinxing, neck still in Gao Jin's grip, replies weakly, "Fine, fine. As a fellow sect member, that's a fair request. As sect leader, I give you my word." Gao Jin hurriedly added, "And another thing, I didn't kill Lu Tianliang." "Oh, then I misjudged you." Feeling wrong, get lost. While the two bickered, someone ran up from afar. They shouted as they approached, "Gao Jin, you found the boss and didn't signal?" If I hadn't heard his goofy laugh, I'd still be wandering. Then he glanced at Gao Jin. "Gao Jin, you look rough." Wu Jinxing chimed in, "Xiao Gu, Gao Jin just tried to kill me." At that, Gao Jin froze. Then Xiao Gu said, "Boss, how much do people hate you? Gao Jin's a good guy. Even he can't stand you." Gao Jin snapped, dumbfounded. "What do you mean, even?" Wu Jinxing quickly explained, "In our Quan's surname, you're not the only one after my head. Think you're special?" Gao Jin shot back, "I'm not like them." Wu Jinxing shrugged it off, sneering, "Sure, our brother Gao's chasing some grand dream of purging evil. But Gao, don't sweat it too much. That kid Xiao Luqing, for all his shock value, has dropped plenty of Quan folk too." Then Wu Jinxing muttered, "Surviving in Quan is a deadly game. Keeping yourself alive matters most." Wu Ji cut in, "Brother Gao, if you're purging evil, why not go after Bai Xiao? That guy was evil incarnate." Wu Jinxing mocked, "Xiao Gu, our brother Gao's no match for Bai Xiao. Besides, Bai Xiao's already gone." As the three walked on, Wu Jinxing suddenly turned, remembering something, and shouted into the distance, "You too. No words can repay you." Hearing Wu Jinxing's farewell, Su Xian and Dong Chong, hiding on a hill, watching, were caught off guard. Then Su Xian cursed, "That bastard." Meanwhile, Gu Ji and Ting Yu, Gao Jin, tensed, instantly on guard. Wu Jinxing quickly clarified, "Relax. They're my Tangmen friends." Su Xian, watching the three fade into the distance, felt a storm stir within. What exactly are Quan and Wu Jinxing? That was Su Xian and Wu Jinxing's second meeting. Their third, though, was pure chance. Su Xian and Dong Chong were out on a job, stopping for food and rest. But as they stepped into the inn, they ran right into Wu Jinxing and Gao Jin, eating. Spotting Su Xian and Dong Chong, Wu Jinxing laughed heartily. "We're fated, aren't we?" He insisted they sit and eat. At the time, Su Xian and Dong Chong didn't even pause to discuss. It was like meeting old friends after years apart. They just sat and chatted with Wu Jinxing. Over food, Wu Jinxing mentioned, "Counting from that Huang Fong hit, 7 or 8 years have flown by, and I still don't know your names." Su Xian paused briefly at that. Then he and Dong Chong gave their names without hesitation. Dong Chong, Su Xian. As the meal wound down, Su Xian asked Gao Jin, "Back then, we heard you say you'd watch Wu Jinxing. If you ever thought he deserved to die, you'd act. But these years, his mess with Sanyi sect has been loud. From my perspective, though he trespassed into the Sanyi sect like a jerk, he didn't deserve this." At that moment, Dong Chong spoke up, "You are who you hang out with. Brother Gao, You'd best avoid mixing with people from Quan clan. As they were chatting casually, suddenly the waiter's voice rang out from the inn. Taoist, please come in. Wu Jinsheng casually glanced in the waiter's direction, then lowered his head, looking helpless and frustrated. Seeing his change in expression, Su Xian teased immediately. What? Another acquaintance? Your luck's too good. 2 in a row now? Wu Jinsheng replied helplessly. Running into you two was chance. But that guy, that's just bad luck. Sensing a strange gaze from behind on Dam Street, Zhang Huai also spotted Wu Jinsheng eating. He immediately shouted, Thank you, Grandmaster, for letting me run into this demon again. I won't let you go today. But Wu Jinsheng just stared silently at him. Seeing Wu Jinsheng quiet, Zhang Huai yelled, This isn't the place. Let's take it outside. Then he darted out of the inn without looking back. Su Xian joked at that moment. Wow, Master Sect Leader, you're really popular. Friends wherever you go. Huh. But Wu Jinsheng didn't respond to Su Xian's sarcasm. He stayed silent for a while, then suddenly stood and said to Gao Jin, Brother Gao, you take this one. But Gao Jin replied calmly, He's looking for you, not me. What's it got to do with me? Not long after, Wu Jinsheng and the others also exited the inn, only to see Zhang Huai waiting nearby. Wu Jinsheng sighed helplessly, then turned to Su Xian and Dong Chong. Gentlemen, we part ways here, until we meet again. But Su Xian said, Forget it, better if we don't meet again. Then Su Xian looked over at Zhang Huai nearby, and said, Taoist. He's the leader of Quan clan, you should know your limits. Zhang Huai was surprised Su Xian spoke to him. He replied in surprise, Aren't you two from Quan clan? Since you're not, thanks for the concern. I know what I'm doing. After Su Xian and Dong Chong left, Su Xian spoke with interest as they walked. Huh, that little Taoist is pretty funny. Says he knows what he's doing. Did you see how nervous he was? It's lucky he ran into Wu Jinsheng. If it were by Xiao back in the day, he wouldn't even know how he died. Hearing this, Dong Chong paused and suddenly asked, How do you know Wu Jinsheng won't hurt him? Su Xian was stunned by the question. Yeah, why did I assume that? Wu Jinsheng wouldn't harm him. Then the two of them turned around at the same time, to see for themselves, if Wu Jinsheng would really hurt someone. In fact, not just Su Xian, Dong Chong felt the same, but they had only met Wu Jinsheng 3 times. So why were they both convinced he wouldn't hurt anyone? Maybe it was that unique moral aura this so-called great demon possessed, that constantly influenced everyone around him. Whatever he did, he never went against that sense of virtue. Meanwhile, Wu Jinsheng was throwing down words at Zhang Huai. Big ear Zhang, you're really betting I won't kill you, huh? Zhang Huai, still chewing his bun, replied with a grunt. Admitting it means you've got Wu Jinsheng right where you want him. Seeing Zhang Huai's righteous stance, Wu Jinsheng flew into a rage. In 2 days, my followers will join me. They won't be as easygoing as I am. Upon hearing this, Zhang Huai chuckled and said, Exactly. That's why I can't let you off today. This was the 3rd encounter with Wu Jinsheng in Su Xian's memories. The next was in early year 44, when both Su Xian and Dong Chong received a letter. The letters had identical content, with no signature, but they mentioned Golden Hook Huangfang and details of 2 coincidental encounters afterward. At the end, the letter realizing the sender was Wu Jinsheng, Su Xian discussed it with Dong Chong. What is that bastard Wu Jinsheng up to? Dong Chong didn't answer. Instead, he asked Su Xian, Do you plan to hand this letter to the sect leader? As he spoke, Dong casually lit the letter on fire. Seeing Su Xian's puzzled look, Dong Chong continued, The sect leader would never let us go. Even if he showed interest in the matter, he'd never send just the 2 of us. He'd deploy elite disciples from our hall. Upon hearing this, Su Xian paused a moment, then burned the letter too. The next day during work, Su Xian found Dong Chong again. He asked quietly, Lao Dong, are you going? Maybe I should go and see what that bastard's planning. He wanted Dong Chang's advice, but Dong just replied calmly, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Dong Chong said he was going to find a quiet place, to go into seclusion and focus on pill refining. Hearing this, Su Xian quickly called out to him. Then he rushed back to the house. Soon, he came out carrying a bag. Seeing this, Dong joked, Already packed, huh? Su Xian grinned. I happen to have taken leave from the sect leader too. Then he said knowingly, That demon Wu Jinsheng specifically asked to meet us from our hall. If it's nothing, fine. But if he's up to no good, we need to figure it out for our hall, right? Hearing that, Dong Chong agreed right away. Exactly, that's what I thought too. Without saying more, the two arrived at the meeting spot from the letter, but they found no one there. Just as they thought Wu Jinsheng had tricked them, a voice suddenly spoke behind them. You two really came. The speaker was Gao Jin. He walked slowly up to them and said, Come on, everyone's here. Just waiting on you two. Following Gao Jin to the hideout, Su Xian and Dong Chong found that many people had already gathered there. Some were standing, some seated, all drinking and chatting. As Su Xian and Dong Chong observed the people in the hideout, those people were also eyeing the newcomers. But just then, Su Xian and Dong Chong were exchanging glances with these heroes, when suddenly a woman's voice rang out. Stop right there. Then a meow woman stepped out from the crowd. She said, You two killed my uncle, Golden Hook Huangfang, didn't you? Su Xian replied bluntly. So what if we did? Hearing him admit it, the meow woman said again, Even if it took 2 of you to kill Golden Hook is still impressive. Since you killed him together, you two can count as one. Join the Quan clan and serve under me, and I'll spare your lives. After hearing this, Su Xian and Dong Chong turned their gaze to Wu Jinsheng, who was drinking at a high seat. Su Xian asked, "So this is why you called us here?" Wu Jinsheng bursts into laughter and replies, "Indeed, I felt a connection with you two over our 3 meetings. Now, I invite you both to join me as sect brothers. How about it? If you don't agree, whatever these fiends around you do next, I won't be responsible." Su Xian thinks for only a moment before agreeing. He turns to ask Dong Chong, "You're fine with it too, right, Brother Dong?" Dong Chong murmurs assent and nods in agreement. Wei Shufan, standing nearby, asks in confusion, "You're really agreeing to this?" Su Xian grins and replies, "Of course we're agreeing. Why wouldn't we?" Then he laughs heartily, pointing at Wei Shufan. "Once we join Xuanqing, we'll surely be Wu Gensheng's bosses, your supreme leaders. Big sister, you lost an uncle but gained 2 grandpas. Huh?" At these words, roars of laughter erupt from the crowd behind. Some mock Wei Shufan's blunder, while others warn Su Xian and Dong Chong that Wei Shufan isn't one to mess with. Fearing they've angered her, Dong Chong steps forward and says, "Miss, stop pretending. You're not Xuanqing." But Wei Shufan looks puzzled and asks, "How did you figure that out?" Su Xian points to Zhang Huai nearby and says, "I might not have noticed, but the moment we arrived, I saw this young Taoist." Then Su Xian turns to Wu Jinsheng and asks, "What exactly did you call us here for? I've missed you both for a long time, so I specially invited you here to meet. You wanted to see us? Why not come to us? Making us travel all this way. What's that about?" Before Su Xian can finish, a commotion erupts behind them. Turning around, they see a pile of wood suddenly ignite with a whoosh. Then, with a boom, the flames shoot up high. From within the flames, a man in red leaps out. This red-clad man is carrying 2 jars on his shoulders. Upon landing, he shouts to the crowd, "Sorry to keep you waiting. Top-notch daughter red wine is here." The crowd swarms over, chattering excitedly. "Feng Ting, in just this short time, you went all the way to Shaoxing? Teach me that trick. I'd kowtow and call you master for it." Dong Chong whispers to Su Xian, judging by his technique. It's like the fire escape art of the fire virtue sect. Su Xian muses for a moment. That woman's origins are unclear, but she's definitely not Xuanqing. Dong Chong looks puzzled. Are all these people from major sects? At that moment, behind them, the sound of high heels rings out. "You two are new, not yet familiar with everyone." 1378. 00:28:46, 682. System, SRT. Let me introduce you both. Do Hong from Flawless Vajra. Gu Jiting from a hereditary sorcery lineage. Wang Xinghai from Wild Mao Mountain. Mr. Lu from Iron Plate County. Dian Xiaotong from Natural Gate. Wei Shufan from Miao Cloth Veil Women. Feng Tianyang from Liangshan West. Lin Zifeng from Flowing Cloud Sword. Ding Dali from Golden Body Elder. Hu Haiwang from Tree Gate. Zhou Sheng from Wudong. Zhang Xian from Ink Gate. Hao Wenkai from Natural Gate. Duan Mu Ying from Benevolent Hall. Liao Tianlin from Ji. Ma Bin Zai from Heavenly Palace Hall. Su Xia from One Immortal Stream. Ruan Feng, the Wandering Sage. Feng Ying from Vine Mountain. Zhao Tianhai from Heavenly Palace Hall. Zhao Pingshan from Heavenly Palace Hall. Huang Fong from Red Flower Immortal. Do Ruchang is from the Secret Illusion Sect. Feng Ping is from the Fire Virtue Sect. Song Mian is from Wudong. Zhang Zibu is from Shanqing. Zhang Gui is from Baichao Hall. Hiren Fong is from the Three Poles Fire Needle Sect. Zhang Huai is from the Celestial Master's Mansion. Tian Xiaodai is from the Five Monkeys Sect. Lu Wang is from Immaculate Vajra, with Su Xian, Dong Chong, and Gao Jian included. All 36 heroes under Wu Jinsheng are now present. Just as Gao Jian finished introducing the heroes to Su Xian and Dong Chong, Wu Jinsheng suddenly said, "I, Wu Jinsheng, having lived a lifetime, this is all I have. Just this group of friends, and the wine in my bowl." Su Xian joked in return, "We've only met 3 times in total. You sure make friends easily." Upon hearing that, Wu Jinsheng leapt down from a large rock with a swoosh. He landed, swaying slightly, and walked toward the crowd. As he passed Su Xian, Wu Jinsheng said, "Easy or not, 3 meetings. 2 involving life and death. Even if it's casual, so what? What? Should I assign prices to you bastards? Rank you high or low? Label you noble or cheap? Among you are those who want to kill me. If I took one wrong step, someone would have already struck. There are those who once challenged me for pride. There are those I treated like mentors, and those I once tossed aside like old shoes, only to later realize they used me in return. Some of them. Some were too desperate. There were even those who wanted to sleep with me at first sight. But once they learned who I was, they attacked me without the slightest mercy. Demonic cults, Nether Sect. To hell with the Celestial Masters Hall. To hell with the Fire Virtue Sect. To hell with that damn whatever sect. Huh. Wu Jinsheng filled his bowl with wine and raised it. Then he shouted to the crowd, "To hell with the Quan clan." Then immediately hurled the wine bowl full of liquor. Su Xian and Dong Chong quickly caught the bowls thrown at them. Wu Jinsheng then raised a wine jug and shouted again, "I, this bastard, am going to drink with my 35 fellow bastards tonight." With that, Wu Jinsheng lifted the jug again and smiled at Su Xian and Dong Chong. "To hell with." But before he could finish, Dong Chong cut him off loudly. "Wu Jinsheng, if you dare say to hell with our hall, I'll twist your head off right now." With Wu Gunsheng's awkward expression, Dongchang grinned and said, then I'll soak your head in a wine vat. Then both raised their bowls and downed the liquor in one gulp. Wu Jinxing laughed heartily and lunged at them in a hug, nearly knocking them over. Su Xian grumbled with disgust. Let go. What are you hugging for? We're all men. From now on, you're both under my command. Hearing this, Su Xian and Dongchang instantly turned hostile, grabbing Wu Jinxing, ready to fight him to the death. But Wu Jinxing just chuckled and said he didn't care. Hearing that he didn't care, Su Xian got so mad he kicked Wu Jinxing flying. Even after being kicked to the ground, Wu Jinxing wasn't angry. Instead, he looked up and laughed. Being friends with you 35 was entirely my own wishful thinking. But with just one note from me, all 35 of you came here from afar, not one missing. This is the damn highlight of my life. When the drunken Wu Jinxing sobered up, he found Su Xian and Dongchang and said awkwardly, sorry, I drank too much earlier and got a little sentimental. Actually, I chose this place to meet, not just to drink with you brothers. But before he could finish, Wu Jinxing stood up slowly and then said mysteriously, tomorrow I'll take you to an interesting place. The next morning, Wu Jinxing led the group into a valley. Before entering, Wu Jinxing repeatedly warned everyone not to fall behind. If you do fall behind, just stay where you are and don't wander. Gu Jiting asked, what happens if we do? I've only gotten more energized the further we go. Is this a trap zone? Wu Jinxing looked surprised. Xiao Gu, didn't expect you to know about that. Turns out Gu Jiting had heard about it from his elders. Then he began to explain. If this really is a natural trap formation, walking through it normally may not help, but it won't harm. But if you wander around randomly, then you're in trouble. At that, someone in the group asked, what kind of trouble? Could we get struck by lightning? Gu Jiting calmly replied, struck by lightning? This world is made of living and non-living things. But whether living or not, nothing ever truly stays still. Everything is constantly changing. The difference is, non-living things passively accept changes. Living beings can choose. They can flee or resist. With training, they grow stronger. With neglect, they weaken. In short, living things actively evolve. That's why we have innate instruments within us. Just as he finished, Duanmu Ying impatiently asked, after all that, what is a trap formation? Gu Jiting glanced at Duanmu Ying and said, a discarded formation is where inanimate structures fix their form, while living beings generate innate instruments, circulating within that form to create a pattern. From a perspective that transcends time, a discarded formation is a unique configuration, formed at a specific place over a period of time. Duanmu Ying, listening nearby, looked confused. I understand the idea of a formation. For example, organs and energy flow within the body. They form a complete, independent system, but transcending time. What does that mean? Gu Jiting explained. While bodily structures are independent, they're not complete. Time is change. To say it transcends time is really to say it transcends change. Only by doing so can we see a person's full configuration. Therefore, from above the current of change, we view you. You are a being with countless heads and arms. If we take the whole into account, you are a long and winding thread. As long as you live, that thread continues to stretch endlessly. All living beings are but countless threads, entangled into one chaotic web. With that, Gu Jiting spread his hands, felt the surrounding airflow, and continued. A discarded formation is the same, whether naturally formed or man-made. It's shaped by terrain, over a set period, influenced by linear airflow, just like how we channel internal energies. Through various techniques, a discarded place works similarly. Most of them carry mystical traits. Hearing this, Duanmu Ying said, sounds a lot like feng shui. Then turned to Zhou Sheng and asked, Big Monkey, you know about this, right? Zhou Sheng just chuckled without replying. Gu Jiting continued. Actually, feng shui is merely a small application of discarded formations. Feng shui observes the local qi structure and flow of energy at that moment to reverse engineer the formation's result and effect, but it cannot determine how long the formation's effect will last, nor can it precisely define what behavior is proper within it. Duanmu Ying suddenly asked, feng shui or discarded formation. If it's a good place, stay longer. If bad, leave immediately. What if I don't follow the rules? Will a monster jump out and eat me? Gu Jiting shook his head and replied, the discarded formation is itself a monster. It's a fixed, enclosed structure, formed within a specific terrain, over a particular time period. So the airflow here is not open like in unformed locations. When a new energy pattern enters, it is inevitably struck by the existing currents, and the stronger the pattern, the stronger the impact from the formation, and humans are among the strongest and most complex patterns. Hearing this, Duanmu Ying trembled and stammered. Am I being hit by those air currents right now? Gu Jiting quickly explained. The sect leader must have brought us in following the rules. Then he turned to ask Wu Jinxing, right, sect leader? Wu Jinxing replied impatiently without looking back. Obviously. With that, Gu Jiting continued. The influence of a discarded formation transcends time. It begins from change itself. So you are not just the you right now. You are also the combination of your past, your present, and potential futures. If you didn't follow the formation's behavioral patterns and barged in recklessly, the formation's reaction to you wouldn't target the present you, but the entire combination of you from the moment you stepped into now. In other words, every version of you during this time has been impacted by the airflow. The current you is the only real version that exists in this moment, which is why it's hard to sense the formation's effects. But your past self, these weak and illusory existences, can be distorted by the formation. If this trap formation here is powerful enough that even the entry path, if you take one wrong step, your past self will be completely torn apart and erased. Upon hearing this, Duanmuing asked, pale-faced, what happens if your past is gone? Without the past, how can there be a present or future? Fate is like a thread, and the future is a product built upon the past and present. Though cultivators seek to grasp the present, to free themselves from the inertia of the past, and create the future on their own. Still, no matter what, the past remains the foundation of the future. Even destroying just a small fragment of the past will lead that person's fate to a dead end. In other words, they will die. But how they die is unknown, because once the thread of fate is damaged, that person loses all ability to control their own destiny. They can only passively accept what fate brings. That is, they can only wait for fate's decision. After hearing all this, Duanmuing immediately rushed toward Wu Jinsheng, leading the way, shouting as he ran. Wu Jinsheng slowed down, afraid he had taken a wrong step, and lost track of Wu Jinsheng's pace. At this point, Zhang Huai asked Gu Jiding, so do you think this place is man-made or natural? Gu Jiding replied, man-made? No way. If someone could create a formation like this, they'd basically be a living immortal. Zhang Huai followed up, but if this formation is natural, how did the first person who entered know how to navigate it? Gu Jiding shook his head and replied, that I don't know. Perhaps that person had a perception beyond time, and the ability to perceive all things in the world. Only with that could someone see the rules here. Hearing this, Zhang Huai lowered his head in silent thought. Just then, Wu Jinsheng, still leading the way ahead, suddenly spoke up. Big ears, you're being all roundabout again. If you want to know something, just ask me directly. No need to fish it out from Xiaogu. I'll tell you honestly. But then Wu Jinsheng glanced at the silent Zhang Huai and grinned slyly. Of course I don't have some kind of transcendent perception of time. Big ears, you can relax now. Then Wu Jinsheng added, don't forget what my divine spirit ability does. This chi-based formation is just another trick. Any trick involving chi is useless against me. But the first time I came in here, I could still feel its effects on me. So I adjusted my path, only walking where the chi formation didn't affect me. And eventually, that path just formed. As for whether this place is man-made or natural, who can say for sure? After walking a bit further with Wu Jinsheng, he suddenly came to a stop, pointed ahead at the valley, and said, there it is, see for yourselves. But when everyone entered the valley, they were all stunned by the scene before them. At the same time, the valley's native monkeys enthusiastically welcomed these distant guests. As they stepped into the valley, they were undoubtedly shocked by what they saw. Meanwhile, the monkeys living in the valley warmly hosted the visitors from afar, but no one paid attention to the monkeys tugging and nibbling on them, because all their attention was drawn to the scenery inside the valley. Su Xin then shouted at Wu Jinsheng, who was the previous owner of this place. Wu Jinsheng laughed with his hands on his hips. What fun is it if I just tell you? Let's play a game, everyone. This valley is called the Valley of the 24 Solar Terms. The cave up ahead is called What is Human Cave. Both places are safe zones. There are no traps inside. Feel free to explore. Additionally, there's a hidden place if someone finds it, they'll naturally discover who originally owned this place. Finally, I'll give you 2 clues. The first is, what makes a person? The second is, completion. Whoever finds it first, no matter the age, we'll call them big brother or big sister. How about that? Upon hearing this, everyone gladly accepted Wu Jinsheng's proposal. Some even laughed and joked. Anyone who backs out is a little dog. Then everyone spread out to search for clues. But the cave was massive and full of branching paths. After investigating for a while, Fang Ying found that the entire valley and cave were arranged like a cosmic formation. He suggested avoiding side paths for now and heading straight to the end of the cave first. Soon after, everyone gathered around Wu Jinsheng in a storage area inside the cave. Su Xian casually picked up a small windmill and teased Wu Jinsheng. What are you, a kid? You keep this as a treasure? Wu Jinsheng replied awkwardly. Haha, I liked it back then, so I kept it. Dongchang quickly stepped forward to scold Su Xian. That's his personal stuff. Put it back. Su Xian replied nonchalantly. I'm looking for clues. Who knows? Maybe something's hidden among his junk. If I can't be their supreme leader, being big brother works too. Especially that Wei Shufan fan. Unlike Su Xian, who was loud and searching for clues, Zhang Huai was quietly observing the items. At that moment, he was examining an object covered by a curtain. Curious, he walked up and gently pulled the curtain aside. To his surprise, underneath the cloth were several oil paintings. The first painting depicted a young girl sitting on a windowsill. Having never seen oil paintings before, Zhang Huai squatted down and touched the canvas. Then he asked Wu Jinsheng, what is this? It's in color. Is it some kind of photo? But the one who answered was Lin Zifeng nearby. Taoist Zhang, that's a Western painting, also known as oil painting. Lin Zifeng then turned to Wu Jinsheng and asked, didn't expect you to have such refined taste. Collecting these. Wu Jinsheng scratched his head and chuckled. I just collected the canvases. The one Big Ears is looking at, and the ones next to it. I painted those myself. Hearing that Wu Jinsheng painted them himself, Lin Zifeng was shocked. I once tried to learn, but it was way too difficult. It's nothing like our traditional painting style. As they were admiring Wu Gensheng's work, suddenly someone shouted, Wu Gensheng, you hiding booze in here. Whoa, smells amazing. Not gonna lie, this wine's aged. Then Feng Ping shouted, you had good wine all along, but made me carry firewood. I'm opening everything today. Wu Gensheng rushed over and shouted, everyone. Brother Feng, don't open them all. Some of those aren't even wine. Then he added, but there's wine alright. Brother Feng, you've got firewood, right? Go cook something for the group. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the cave, Mr. Liu and Zhao Pingshan's group found a pair of footprints sunken deep into the ground. They were discussing whether the prints were related to Wu Gensheng's mud body technique. Meanwhile, Wei Shufan was chatting with Duanmu Ying, talking about everyday matters, sharing stories like old friends. Duanmu Ying asked Wei Shufan, why aren't you out hunting for clues? Wei Shufan, with a look of disdain, shot back, I'm not itching to play big sister to this crowd. But her words barely landed when Huang Fong popped up out of nowhere, cackling loudly. Shufan doesn't want to be big sister. She's dreaming of being someone's little wife. Huh? Wei Shufan instantly snapped. Red flower hag, keep your mouth shut. Worry about yourself. But Duanmu Ying, standing nearby, suddenly had a thought. She waved Huang Fong and Wei Shufan over, calling them closer. Then, arm around them, she whispered, say what you want about Wu Gensheng, but the guy's got an eye for talent. Look at this crew we've got. All shapes and sizes, skills and backgrounds beyond reproach. Everyone's a keeper, except Mihua's two old-timers, too long in the tooth. The rest are prime catches. If you two aren't blind, I can play matchmaker for you. At that, Huang Fong's eyes lit up, like a door swung wide. Flushing, she gasped, well, damn, you're right. She immediately scanned the men in the distance, grinning foolishly. Grab one for a quiet life, and you're set. Take that big-nosed drunk, Liao Tianling. He'd do tricks for me daily. Life never be dull. Or one of the Pingshan Tianhai brothers. Buy one, get one free. And Lin Zifeng, bring him home. Forget everything else. Just having him there would make me smile. On she went, lost in her own world, rolling on the ground, yelling, no, stop. Too many choices. My face is burning. Wei Shufan, watching, laughed and cursed. But Duanmu Ying quickly cut in. Haha, hold up, not that one. I've studied face reading a bit. Xiaofeng, say what you will, but with that peach blossom face, he's got a playboy's look, born to break women's hearts. Huang Fong then turned to Wei Shufan. What's your type, young or old? Wei Shufan replied, what's good about old and steady? I can hold the fort at home. I'd rather tame a hothead. Her eyes flicked to Su Exine, roughhousing nearby, and she said, like that one, poke him, and he'd lose it. Huang Fong perked up instantly. Oh, Shufan, you like the young ones. You gotta learn from Sister Ying. Know her story? Wei Shufan pressed. What story? Spill it. Our Sister Ying, eldest daughter of the Duanmu clan, star disciple of Ji Hall's master. She's never been one for rules. Drove her family and teachers up the wall. Then, behind their backs, she snuck off to study overseas. Left just a note. Gone for 3 years. When she came back, her family and sect gave her hell. The elders couldn't take her anymore. They planned to marry her off, wash their hands of her. But this lady? She threw a fit, swore she'd rather die, demanded to choose her own love. But Ji Hall's old-timers? They didn't get it. Things got messy. And the family she was engaged to showed up. Turns out, the guy she was promised to, hearing the whole story, didn't want to force her, came to call off the engagement. But when the Duanmu clan and Ji Hall elders saw him, they started muttering. Because this guy? Barely a grown man. Not only was he small and thin, his speech was timid to the extreme. The elders were ready to call off the engagement, thinking it was done and over with. But who would have thought Duanmu Ying would step forward, bluntly asking the small man, so you're the one who wants to marry me? Have you even seen me? When the Sui family visited Benevolent Hall, I saw you once, miss. You didn't notice me at all. But since that day, I've never forgotten you. So what do you like about me? At this question, the small man stammered, unsure how to respond. The Benevolent Hall elders nearby, unable to stand it any longer, scolded loudly. What nonsense is a young lady like you spouting? Get out of here now. Stop embarrassing us. Fearing Duanmu Ying would leave, the small man hurriedly shouted his true feelings. I admire Miss Duanmu's beauty. Then he quickly clarified. I'm no lecher, but I was simply captivated by your beauty. Hearing this, Duanmu Ying didn't scoff, but smiled, giving a cold hum and saying, honest enough. The small man continued. Of course, it's not just your beauty. I often hear stories about you. I see myself as rigid, inflexible, but your unconventional ways are something I deeply admire. At this, Duanmu Ying countered. You admire my looks and personality, nothing else. What about my skills? The small man paused, thinking, then said, right now, how could my skills possibly compare to yours? Naturally, I admire them greatly. But Duanmu Ying caught a problem in his words. Right now? So you're saying in time, you won't admire my skills anymore? Hearing this, the small man countered with a question. I heard you studied Western medicine overseas for 3 years. What was it like? Eye-opening. Like discovering a whole new world. Duanmu Ying, beaming with happiness, said to Wei Shufan and Huang Fong. Having a little guy who adores me as a husband is actually a pretty great choice. Take a look. As she spoke, she pulled out her pendant and opened it. This is my little gentleman, Wang Zizhong, entering the 24 seasonal proverbs and stirring hearts. The 36 split off in pairs to unravel the riddle left by Wu Zhensheng. Zhang Huai was walking with Zhang Zibu at the time. Zhang Zibu asked Zhang Huai, "Is Zhang your real surname?" Zhang Huai replied calmly, "It's a pseudonym." Zhang Zibu looked shocked. "Then I might be walking side by side with a future celestial master. What an honor." Zhang Huai shook his head repeatedly at the words. "The celestial master's mansion has plenty of talented people. I'm hardly the only one. But now, aside from Zhang Jiwei and you, where are the others?" At this, Zhang Huai fell silent, saying nothing. Looking at the silent Zhang Huai, Zhang Zibu continued, "Not just your celestial master's mansion. Our Shanqing, Heavenly Palace, Wudong, Bianwu, which sect hasn't been hit? Most of our sect brothers have been sacrificed." Zhang Huai gave a bitter smile. Back then, Brother Jiwei also asked our master to let him join the fight, but master refused no matter what. Zhang Zibu sighed. "If I were the celestial master, I wouldn't let him go either. I'd rather go myself." An entire generation, nearly wiped out. The two then fell into a prolonged silence. Moments later, Zhang Zibu suddenly seemed to remember something. So he asked Zhang Huai, "I heard before that the Celestial Master's Hall had a secret sparring match." Zhang Jiwei took a hit from one of his fellow disciples. "We thought about it for a long time, but couldn't figure out which disciple had that kind of skill. Could it have been you?" As soon as he said that, Zhang Zibu noticed Zhang Huai looking at him with a strange expression. "What's that look for?" Zhang Huai rubbed his face and smiled. "Heh, so that's what people out there are saying." Then he added, "I get it now. You guys don't actually care about the truth. You just all suffered at my senior brother's hands. So you're willing to believe anything, as long as it makes it seem like he lost." Zhang Zibu quickly responded, "What's it got to do with me? That's what everyone else says. I've never been beaten by Zhang Jiwei. My buddy Lu Jing always hyped him up like a legend. I asked him to introduce me, maybe even help me challenge him a bit. But that guy always made excuses, probably afraid I'd go too far. But we're all Taoists here. I wouldn't overdo it." Hearing this, Zhang Huai teased, "Brother Zhang, I trust your restraint, but my senior brother doesn't have any." But Zhang Zibu didn't seem to get what Zhang Huai meant. He said, "No worries. I'm not gonna use brute force. Just a little prank should be fine." Just then, laughter came from not far away. It was Gu Jiming, Ma Ben, and the Ping Shantianhai brothers, gathering poetic inscriptions from a cave. Seeing Gu Jiming holding some kind of artifact, Zhang Huai quickly stepped up to ask, "Brother Gu, you practice too? That's a magic tool, right?" Gu Jiming laughed and replied, "Haha, this is a poop pouch. Brother Ma just gave it to me." At this, Xiao Tianhai joked from the side, "Hey, you two from Longhu Mountain and Shanqing, you better weigh in on this. Our Heavenly Palace Hall's magic tool was just casually given away by Ma Ben to a Chuanxin demon guy." Ma Ben quickly jumped in. "You guys aren't any better. If not for this time, I wouldn't have even known how close you are with Wu Zhensheng. Besides, I've known Brother Gu for ages. Back then, he wasn't even with Chuanxin." Xiao Tianhai then asked Gu Jiming again, "Speaking of which, Brother Gu, you come from a famous sect. How'd you end up joining Chuanxin and becoming a demon follower?" Gu Jiming smiled and replied, "It doesn't really matter, as long as I follow Big Brother Wu. If he wants to lead Chuanxin, then I'll join Chuanxin too." At that moment, Yu Tianhai asked, "Right, what about that little girl Jin Feng? You two were always flanking Wu Zhensheng, his two main followers. How come Jin Feng isn't with you this time?" Gu Jiming replied, "Of course I wouldn't bring her to meet everyone, though it's bad to talk behind her back. Honestly, she's not worthy of this group." Ma Ben then looked at Gu Jiming and scolded him. "Brother Ma's gotta call you out here. How can you just dismiss people like that? Aren't you getting a bit cocky?" Gu Jiming scratched his head awkwardly and replied, "Brother Ma, I'm really not being cocky. It's just, I know Jin Feng too well. She's fundamentally different from you and me. She follows the sect leader because she wants to be defeated by him. But when we meet the sect leader, or anyone else, it's different. It was all for his own success." Meanwhile, on the other side, he staggered and said, "We've known each other for different lengths of time. Each and every one of you. Have I ever lied to you?" The heavy drinker beside him, Liao Tianlin, was pushed to reply, "What does it matter if you lied? These are blazing times. Being able to enjoy a few days in the valley with friends is already rare enough. Just for that, I've got to thank you all." Zhang Xian chimed in as well. "Yeah, who knows when this war will end?" At the mention of war, Do Rutsong suddenly spoke up. "Soon, everyone. The Japs are going to lose." When Do Rutsong said the Japs were going to lose, Zhang Gui looked doubtful. "How do you know they're losing?" "From what I see, those Japs are just getting more arrogant." But before he could finish, Feng Ping beside him cut in. "Don't run your mouth. Old Do is the second in command of Secret Talk. He's got connections up top. His intel is way more reliable than ours." Do Rutsong took a sip of wine and continued, "I can't tell you too much, but what I can say is, the outcome is set. The Japanese are definitely going to lose. Now those with real capabilities on their side are already starting to pull out." Hearing that, Zhang Gui slapped his thigh and laughed with joy. The rest raised their bowls of wine in celebration. Wen Yin was the first to shout out, "Once we stop living in fear, I'm getting married and having kids." Lin Zifeng said he wanted to learn Western painting. Mr. Lu said he wanted to travel. Lu Desui said he wanted to go abroad and see the world. After hearing their dreams, Do Hong curled her lips and said, "All of you are chi cultivators, and not one of you has ambition, marriage and painting." Don't you have any goals in cultivation? She then asked Gu Jiding. What do you aim to reach in your cultivation? Gu Jiding thought for a moment. My goal in cultivation is to see the true essence of everything in this world. Zhou Sheng, sitting beside Wen Yan, chuckled and said, everything in this world is full of variety, but all of it comes down to change. I want to master the changes of all things. Duan Muing said at that moment, Mr. Zhou, that's quite the bold statement. I'm not as skilled as you. I just want to heal the sick and save lives. My goal is simple, that the world wouldn't fall apart without me. Feng Tianyang, however, sank into thought. After a moment, he murmured to himself, I want every spirit in the world to be under my command. At that, Ma Ben said, current Qi techniques are far too mentally taxing. I want to found a sect and create a brand new method of cultivation. Ruan Feng lay on the ground, chuckling. I don't want anything, just good food, good drink, and to live a few more years. Then he got up and asked Zhang Huai, big ears, what about you? Aiming for the 5 Thunder True Law? That day, yes. But Zhang Huai paused in thought, and after a while said, actually, I don't really have a goal. Then he turned his eyes toward Wu Jinsheng and asked, Wu Jinsheng, what about you? What do you want? How far do you want to cultivate? Wu Jinsheng was caught off guard by the question, then casually said, cultivation, it's whatever. I'll just go with the flow. But Zhang Huai wasn't satisfied with his answer. He said, I didn't take you for someone so aimless. Then let me ask it this way. Wu Jinsheng, what do you want most in this life? What is it really? Wu Jinsheng thought for a moment, muttering softly to himself, what I want most in life. Then he raised his head and said loudly, a lifetime's desire? I really can't answer that. But I know right now. I want you all my brothers. Do you know why the 36 thieves came together? What sparked their bond? I bet everyone thinks it was some long-planned scheme by Wu Jinsheng. But it wasn't. Let me tell you all how the 36 thieves really formed. I want you all as my brothers. Zhang Huai froze, then said calmly, that doesn't sound like something you'd say, Wu Jinsheng. But Wu Jinsheng's mind was racing, with a sudden burst of inspiration, shouting, I just want brothers. He turned, looking around, and called out to the crowd, I want you all to be my brothers. No need to wait for another time. I want it now. He spread his arms wide, pulling Zhang Huai into a tight embrace, saying excitedly, big ears. Let's be brothers. Zhang Huai, exasperated, said, fine, brother, you're drunk. But Wu Jinsheng was dead serious. No, I'm not drunk. I mean it. I want real brothers and sisters. The kind where even if bones break, the tendons hold. Where we die for each other. The kind of brothers we'd always care for. With that, Wu Jinsheng stood tall, clasped his fists, and said, I wish to swear brotherhood with you all. But at these words, the room fell deathly silent, eerily still. Finally, Zhang Huai broke the silence. Whoever wants to swear brotherhood with you can go ahead, but I'm not doing it. Wu Jinsheng chuckled and replied, hey, it's just you, big ears, who's so picky. Zhang Huai spat, then said, who's picky, you or me? What's wrong with me? Honestly, among everyone here today, some I've known for a while, others I'm meeting for the first time, but strangely enough, they all suit my taste. I'd swear brotherhood with any of them, but you're the one I can't swear with. Hearing this, Wu Jinsheng scratched his head awkwardly and said, I get it. After all, I'm a fiend in the eyes of the world. Zhang Huai's veins bulged with anger, cursing, you get nothing. Do you even know what swearing brotherhood means? Do you understand what it takes to bond like that? Wu Jinsheng casually replied, what's so hard to understand? It's just you and me becoming brothers. Zhang Huai said sternly, brothers are like broken bones still connected by tendons, thicker than blood. If you and I swore brotherhood, we'd be brothers of different surnames. But what's your surname? Is it Wu? At these words, Wu Jinsheng felt like he'd been doused with cold water, his face darkening. Zhang Huai continued, you, with no real name, or known origin. Even if I wanted to, how could I swear brotherhood with you? At this, Wu Jinsheng fell completely silent, standing frozen in place. But moments later, Wu Jinsheng suddenly shouted, I have you all. I have a name and surname. I'm not Wu Jian. My surname is Feng, with the single name Yao. I am Feng Yao. Then Wu Jinsheng began recounting his origins and background. It was roughly during the Guangxu era, in Lantian, Shaanxi province. That year was marked by famine, with people starving, countless dying of hunger. His mother gave birth to him under a withered tree, and took her last breath. Born able to open his eyes and see the world, it was this unusual trait that led a passing Taoist to adopt him. The Taoist who took him in had the lay surname Feng. Noticing the vibrant light in Wu Jinsheng's eyes, he named him Feng Yao. Later, it was this Taoist who taught Wu Jinsheng to read and write. At this point, Wu Jinsheng pointed at Zhang Huai and said, big ears, what you really want to know is my martial lineage. How I got my divine spirit, right? Caught off guard, Zhang Huai was momentarily speechless. Wu Jinsheng continued, truth is, I don't have much of a lineage. Master Feng was well versed in scriptures and rituals, but clueless about martial techniques. Then Wu Jinsheng revealed the origin of his divine spirit. He claimed his divine spirit came entirely from the 3 stars of joy in his mind's square inch. Born with a calm nature, he read that the human spirit loves clarity, and the human heart loves stillness. When he tried it, he entered a meditative state. He later discovered that whether acting or doing wrong, he didn't even need the 5-star alignment. As long as his mind was still, all stray thoughts would fall away. In that extreme stillness, a lively spark would emerge. Back then, Wu Jinxing didn't know. He had already grasped qi. As he grew older and wiser, Wu Jinxing realized his qi could reshape others' chaotic qi back to its original form. At this point, Wu Jinxing grinned slyly, saying, "Am I an innate master? I've trained qi. Or am I a cultivated master? I haven't done any special training. Haha. I don't even understand it myself." At this, Xiao Pingshan suddenly asked, "You mentioned the Guangxu era. Wu Jinxing, how old are you now?" Wu Jinxing laughed and replied, "I haven't kept track, but I've probably wasted about 40 years. As soon as he spoke, Huang Fong looked stunned, exclaiming, "Damn, you're in your 40s? You don't look much older than me." Wu Jinxing laughed heartily. "My kid's about your age." Hearing this, Huang Fong was floored, thinking to herself, "I almost went for an old radish back then." Not just Huang Fong. Everyone else was incredulous. Feng Tianyang asked, "You've got a kid?" Wu Jinxing roared with laughter. "Yeah, I don't just have roots. I've got heirs too." At this, Dohong suddenly stood up. "Wu Jinxing, do you realize what you're saying?" Wu Jinxing glanced at Dohong, lowered his head, and said, "Dird was right. I, Wu Jinxing, don't deserve brothers and sisters. I want to swear brotherhood with you all, yet I hide my true self. But if I'm Feng Yao, a man with a beginning and an end, can I call you big brother?" Dohong laughed and cursed, "You little punk." Then everyone stood up at once, all staring solemnly at Wu Jinxing. Wu Jinxing clasped his fists, bowed, and said, "I, Feng Yao, am I now worthy to swear brotherhood with you all?" And so, 36 heroes formally became sworn brothers. This would later spark the False God Rebellion, known to history as the full tale of the 36 Thieves' Oath. At Wu Jinxing's invitation, 36 heroes gathered at the 24 Valleys, and, bound, these 36 swore an oath of brotherhood. But who could have guessed their roster would leak? As a result, sects launched a manhunt to capture them. Thus began the False God Rebellion. Meanwhile, still unaware the roster had leaked, Su Xin, summoned by the old sect leader, rushed back to Tangmen. As they crossed the threshold, 5 figures were already waiting. Leading them was Tangmen elder, Hong Lao. Seeing such a reception, Dong Chong quickly asked, "The sect leader called us back in a hurry. What's happened? Where's the old man?" Hong Lao replied calmly, "The sect leader's off meeting other sect leaders." Then Yang Lai and Tang Yaoxin approached Su Xin and Dong Chong, each slinging an arm over their shoulders. Yang Lai whispered to Su Xin, "We don't know the details either. The sect leader just told us to wait for you." But as he spoke, Su Xin and Dong Chong felt a sharp pain in their shoulders. Then Yang Lai and Tang Yaoxin leapt back in unison, retreating to the side. Turns out, they'd jabbed poison needles into their shoulders. In a blink, Su Xin and Dong Chong collapsed, limbs numb, to the ground. The two were subdued. Only then did Hong Lao speak slowly. "The sect leader ordered us to seize you 2 traitors." Moments later, Su Xin and Dong Chang's hands were bound, their chi meridians sealed with silver needles. Clueless, Dong Chong pleaded with Hong Lao, "Master Hong, why arrest us? How are we traitors?" But Hong Lao countered, "What have you two been up to this past half year?" Su Xin answered quickly, "Me and brother Dong, to take on the Dan clan. We've been training in the mountains for months." Then he turned to Dong Chong. "Right, brother?" Dong Chong nodded, confirming he'd been in seclusion with Su Xin. The two were clearly in sync. Hong Lao said nothing. Pulling out a slip of paper, he began, "While in seclusion, did you also happen to swear brotherhood with a band of fine brothers?" He read from the paper. Zhang Gui, Ding Dali, Master Lu. As each name was read, Su Xin and Dong Chang's faces grew grimmer. When Hong Lao reached Wu Jinxing's name, both were utterly stunned. Hong Lao continued, "Shall I read every name on this list?" The two fell silent. Then Su Xin shouted, "We're wronged. What is this list? Why are our names on it? And what's Wu Jinxing got to do with it? He's brother Dong's target. Sure, we haven't nailed him, but the client's deposit's still good." While pleading, Su Xin crawled to Hong Lao's feet, but Dong Chong, silent until now, finally spoke. "Enough, brother. Listen to your 7th brother. Hide what you can. But when you can't, why keep it up? We did it. What's there to deny?" Soon after, in a sealed chamber of Tangmen, the crack of whips echoed, mixed with shouts of interrogation. The ones being lashed were Su Xin and Dong Chong, stripped to the waist and strung up. Zhang Wang was yelling furiously, "Don't you two know how many Tangmen have fallen to the Quan surname over the years, and you still teamed up with them?" But before Zhang Wang could finish, a voice called from behind, "Stop!" It was Tongmen's sect leader returning. The old sect leader himself spoke. He stepped forward, staring silently at Su Xin and Dong Chong. Seeing this, Zhang Wang hurriedly said, "Sect leader, I couldn't hold back my anger, and took it upon myself to deal with them. We can't let them off easy. They need harsh punishment, so they'll never dare do this again." But the old sect leader just kept staring at the two, not saying a word. After a moment, he finally spoke. "The major sects involved have already discussed it. The 3 Quan surname members among the 36 are marked for death by all. As for the others who joined them, they're all..." At those words, Zhang Wang, Tang Miaoxin, and others crowded forward, pleading for Su Xin and Dong Chong. The old sect leader shook his head and said, Shuzi sect's leader brought Hu Haiwang's body to the meeting. There's no turning back now. It turned out, due to the war, aside from the untamed Quan surname lunatics and a few traitors, most sects and rogues had formed a wartime alliance. After the alliance's talks, it was decided that the 36 who swore with Chuanqing would be handled by their own sections. If any sect refused, it'd be seen as betraying the alliance. Then other sects would step in to help. But refusal would tarnish a sect's name at best. At worst, it'd fracture the alliance, sparking infighting. So the sects silently agreed to handle it quietly within their ranks. At this point, the old sect leader turned to Su Xin and Dong Chang. I don't even have the heart to blame you anymore. Zhang Wang and a few others tried to plead again, but the sect leader cut them off. No more talk. 1 week from now, we must answer the other sections. Give me time to think. Also, this matter is known only to those here. And Hongyi, if anyone leaks a word, they're as guilty as these two traitors in my eyes. After the sect leader and others left, Su Xin began to sob. Dong Chang quietly asked, Su Xin, are you scared? Su Xin, gasping through tears, replied, Brother, I'm terrified. Not of death. Death's simple. I'm scared we might have truly messed up. With that, he broke into wrenching sobs. 5 days passed in a blur. Early that morning, the old sect leader found them. I'll give you a way out. Both perked up, startled. Then the sect leader continued. But there's a condition. You're both Tang Min disciples, trained to take on the Dan clan. If you want to live, you must complete the Dan clan succession now. Succeed, and you're spared. After inheriting the Dan clan, you'll spend your lives confined in the sect, never to be seen again. From then on, the world will know no Su Xin or Dong Chang. As for what we'll tell the other sect leaders, you're two corpses. I'll handle them myself. At that, Dong Chang and Su Xin gratefully replied, Is it really okay to treat us so kindly? We're already Tongmin's sinners. You're not only letting us master Tongmin's ultimate arts, but hiding us in the sanctuary. But then they heard the old sect leader lay out his terms. They must completely cut ties with the 36 thieves and swear before their Tangmin brothers to sever all bonds with those 34, to be mortal enemies, no longer sworn brothers. If they ever cross paths with those thieves, they must kill them. After the sect leader's words, Dong Chang and Su Xin stood stunned. Then Su Xin pleaded, The first two, I can do. But does the last one have to be so final? I swear I'll never deal with them again. Isn't that enough? The old sect leader sighed and said gravely, Su Xin, you sly kid, still trying to haggle with me now? Stop dreaming. It's the 36 thieves or us. You pick one. Personally, I don't care who you run with. But these are troubled times. Nothing binds people like us with power, and in chaos, the most dangerous are those like you, powerful, but with vague, wavering loyalties. You'll always justify your actions, always find reasons to back your choices. So there's no reasoning here, no right or wrong to debate. To end this chaotic era quickly, you must choose a side and stand firm, clashing until the end. That clash will forge a peaceful age. Maybe that age will tolerate different stances, letting rivals coexist. But you and I won't live to see it. Still, isn't such an age worth fighting for? With a final sigh, the sect leader said, Choose them or us. After those words, all three fell silent. Surprisingly, Dong Chang broke the quiet first. He didn't call Su Xin brother, but 33. He told Su Xin, Don't overthink it. You're you, I'm me. Let's each pick our own side. The night passed wordlessly. The next morning, Su Xin and Dong Chang were brought to Tongmin's sanctuary, Tangzhou. Today, they had to choose their stance. As Su Xin prepared to inherit the Dan clan, Yang Lai suddenly said, Here's some reassurance. It's a deadly trial, but not impossible to master. Su Xin wanted to say something, but the sect leader cut in. While you two were out causing trouble, Yang Lai already claimed the Dan clan. Hearing this, Su Xin faltered slightly and said faintly, Young Master Yang, impressive as expected. Then Su Xin took a deep breath, following the Dan clan's method, channeling his chi. Moments later, an invisible Dan clan essence formed in Su Xion's hand. Seeing Su Xin inherit the Dan clan so quickly, Tongmin's members gasped, faces mixed with shock. And so it was. Afterward, the old sect leader approached Su Xin and said to him, Remember, from today, your life isn't yours anymore. You're just a weapon, living to pass on Tongmin's Dan clan. After Su Xin bowed in gratitude, Dong Chang, standing nearby, said softly, Congrats, junior brother Su. The old sect leader glanced at Dong Chang and asked, Are you sure you want to pass up this chance? Dong Chang only replied calmly, Master, I appreciate your kindness, but my mind's made up. Upon hearing that, the old sect master looked straight at Su Xin. Su Xin, do you remember the oath you just made? What would you do if you encountered a member of the 36 bandits? Dong Chang tilted his head slightly, looked at Su Xin, and said, Come, junior brother. But Su Xin just squatted there, trembling, unable to move a single step. In the end, the old sect master ended Dong Chang's life with a palm strike. It turned out this was Su Xion's final test. If he had actually struck at that moment, there's no way he would have been allowed to live. Because the people of Tang's sect are still flesh and blood. They aren't monsters, Killing is merely their profession. Remember the iron scent records from the performers, the ones mentioning by Xiaoyang's boat. Although after his appearance, he only had a few frames on screen, before being ambushed and killed by Gao Yinkai through his left eye. Still, I believe, he left a deep impression on all of us, though he was a grandmaster skilled in mechanisms, capturing arts. The sole heir of Mo Jinrugu's cautious style, even the Tang sect's black burning armor, could be easily cut by the demonic blade Yuan, but when it slashed him, it only left a superficial wound, and yet in the battle against the Japanese soldier Ing Tai, he actually shouted to Wu Jinxing, "I've wasted my life." So what exactly was that all about? And what did Wu Jinxing do to him? What was that this? What really happened between them? It all began in the fall of 1943, the day Wu Jinxing drastically changed. That day, like any other, inside the Chuanxin stronghold, everyone was gathered around a fire drinking and chatting, but Wu Jinxing seemed utterly uninterested and was walking toward his room. Along the way, he happened to run into Jin Feng. Jin Feng asked him, "Why are you heading to bed so early today?" But Wu Jinxing was silent for a while before turning around, and then said something strange to her. "If a person is unrighteous, don't waste your time here." With that, he went inside and slept without another word. At the time, Jin Feng thought Wu Jinxing was showing concern for her, telling her to leave Chuanxin and return to being a normal girl. But what Wu Jinxing said the next day completely changed her view. Wu Jinxing was sitting outside the door, basking in the morning sun. Seeing Jin Feng walk by, he waved to her and called her over to sit. Then he asked her, "Do you know what the leader of Chuanxin is supposed to do?" Jin Feng didn't hesitate. Of course, the leader of Chuanxin is the boss. Wu Jinxing scolded her with a laugh. Obviously. Then he asked again, "But what makes someone the boss of Chuanxin?" Jin Feng quickly replied, "How should I know? All I know is, only someone like you, master, can lead Chuanxin." Wu Jinxing chuckled helplessly. "Now you're just sucking up." Then he asked again, "You say you're part of Chuanxin, but do you even know what Chuanxin really is?" Jin Feng thought for a bit and said, "It's a group that worships sheep pig as our forebear, ignoring worldly rules, and living purely by our own desires. As for me, I joined these bastards, only to follow our sect master. So really, you could say I am one of them." Wu Jinxing burst out laughing at that. Worship sheep pig as an ancestor. What a glorious way to flatter yourself. Then he continued, "Those people waving the flag of sheep pig Chuanxin, they might not even understand themselves, but as the leader of Chuanxin, you must be able to see through them. They're nothing more than flies around your brows." After saying this, Wu Jinxing looked to the sky. Then he continued, "They say all beings are equal, but I divide people into 4 tiers. At the very bottom are the ones we see the most. They're just passively living, always ignored, yet they are the foundation of everything. Without them, none of us could survive." Talking about castles in the air, but among these ordinary people, there are bound to be those who stand out. That's the second tier of people. They possess skills and talents beyond most others, but if they don't know what they live for, then they are without Tao, skill without Tao. They drift with the current. They might live comfortably, but they'll never escape the troubles and worries of common folk. The highest tier is the 4th kind of person, skill and Tao aligned. They know what they are meant to do in life, and they have the ability to do it. They strive for a life of completeness and virtue. Even if they fail in the end, they'll gladly be crushed to pieces. But the most intriguing are the 3rd kind. They have skill. They know they're meant to have a path of their own in life. Some have lost sight of it. Some are already on the path, but unaware of it. Some are heading in the wrong direction, forgetting their purpose and losing their way. In short, the first kind are the rabble, individually insignificant. The second kind, skilled but without Tao, talented and virtuous, are easy to control. The 4th kind are dazzling, but extremely rare. Only the 3rd kind. They have power, they have energy, but for various reasons, they never find their true path. Yet that energy needs to be released. And those who release destructive energy are destined to be rejected by society. Yet these people still long for meaning in life, and they will never compromise with the world. That's what Chuanxin is, a place for them to gather for warmth. At this point, Wu Jinxing looked at Jin Feng and asked, "Jin Feng, take a good look at yourself. Are you truly one of Chuanxin?" Jin Feng fell into deep thought upon hearing this. Wu Jinxing continued, "The leader of Chuanxin must be a 4th kind of person, the head of a swarm of flies, cannot afford to be lost." Back then, the black-clad chancellor offered a solution for these troubled madmen. That to overturn the world during a time of peace. At this point, Wu Jinxing slapped his thigh and said, "I don't want to go that extreme. Besides, the world is already in tatters. No need to ruin it further for the sake of some lunatics. I just want until a new spark of life appears, then give them a little push. If they succeed, they've graduated from Chuanxin." After saying that, Wu Jinxing looked at Jin Feng and slowly said, "But Jin Feng, you're different. You're not truly Chuanxin. You're not even a 3rd-tier person. You're more like 2nd-tier." With that, Wu Jinxing slowly stood up. "There's nothing all I can say is, no matter which type of person you are, once you fall into extreme hardship, you might change at any moment, whether you rise or stagnate and decay. It all comes down to a single thought." After that, something happened that proved Wu Jinxing's personality had truly changed. There was a man in Chuanxin named Wu Man, the nameless hermit. He could recite Buddhist scriptures and principles fluently, but he couldn't break through the concept of namelessness. He could never understand what it meant to truly see that the 5 aggregates are empty. Later, he sought out Wu Jianxing. Wu Jianxing agreed to cultivate with him, but while helping Wu Man guard his breakthrough, Bai Xiao was also present. He actually tried to assault Jin Feng right in front of Wu Jianxing. Bai Xiao even asked Wu Jianxing for permission. He shouted loudly, "Huh, I'll take this little follower of yours and pay you." But who would have thought? Wu Jianxing merely said calmly, "Get lost, Bai Xiao. Don't disturb the hermit's meditation. Come and see." Bai Xiao grabbed Jin Feng, planning to do unspeakable things, just because he had kept vigil for 7 days alongside Wu Jianxing, guarding the hermit Imo Ming in seclusion. And at that moment, he ran into Jin Feng, so he shamelessly tried to assault her on the spot. What shocked everyone was that Wu Jianxing not only didn't stop him, but even told Bai Xiao to get lost and keep so as not to disturb the hermit's seclusion. Upon hearing that, Bai Xiao had no choice but to drag Jin Feng away. At that moment, he mocked her and said, "Little Jin Feng, your precious sect leader is heartless. You're so devoted to him, and look how he treats you now." But just then, Jin Feng, still struggling, roared angrily, "Don't insult the sect leader. I joined this wretched group Chuanxing, fully prepared for what it meant. I didn't come here to be his burden." With that, Jin Feng raised one hand, and in a flash, the sand beneath her feet formed a wall, blocking Bai Xiao's path. But Bai Xiao only laughed and said, "Whoa, Jin Feng, you've got spirit." But just as he finished, a sudden shout rang out from not far away. "Bai Xiao, you bastard!" Followed by a loud swoosh. A blast of energy surged in. Bai Xiao quickly adjusted and deflected the energy using soft bone technique. But during that moment of distraction, a figure dashed in and rescued Jin Feng. It was Xiao Luqing, who had arrived just in time. He now stood protectively in front of Jin Feng. Bai Xiao cracked his neck and said, "Perfect timing. My bones are stiff. Let me loosen up with you." But Xiao Luqing, burning with rage, asked Jin Feng first, "Can I kill today?" Jin Feng quickly answered, "That bastard's not human. Kill him now." Just as the tension peaked, and the fight seemed ready to erupt, suddenly, from Wu Man's seclusion tower, laughter echoed out. The three immediately paused and turned toward the tower. Looking in that direction, they saw Wu Jianxing sitting on the tower, shouting, "Come and congratulate the hermit Mo Ming." And so, the laughter lasted 3 whole days, until the 3rd night. Wu Man finally walked out of the tower. Upon seeing him, Bai Xiao, long out of patience, immediately stepped forward and cursed, "Made me guard you all these days. Come fight me now. Let's see what you gained from your training." With that, he lashed out with his soft bone breath. But shockingly, Wu Man didn't dodge at all, and let it pierce directly into his forehead. Both Jin Feng and Xiao Luqing were startled, but Wu Jianxing stood by, smiling silently. Bai Xiao looked dumbfounded, then asked Wu Man, "Why didn't you fight back? Has seclusion turned you into an idiot?" Only then did Wu Man slowly speak. "I've been laughing manically for 3 days. I've got no energy left to fight." But at that moment, Bai Xiao looked like he'd seen a ghost. He stared at Wu Man, because in Wu Man's eyes, he saw the vast starry sky. Finally, Wu Jianxing asked Wu Man, "Did you make it through?" But Wu Man said nothing, only slowly looked up at the night sky, and said softly, "This life is over, sins committed, deeds complete." Then he slowly said, "This life is over. The sins are committed. What must be done is done." He refused, saying there'd be consequences. That very night, Wu Man left before dawn. Bai Xiao asked where he was going, and what he planned to do. Wu Man's reply was, "Anything's fine. There's really nothing worth doing. Maybe I'll go settle some debts." A few days after Wu Man left, one night, Bai Xiao sought out Wu Jianxing. Pretending to be serious, he said, "Wu Jianxing, help me out too, like you helped old Wu." Wu Jianxing paused, then replied, "I can't do that." Bai Xiao chuckled and said, "You'd storm the Trinity Gate for them, practice forbidden arts for him, but when it's me you can't? Guess I'm so low. Even the Chuanxing leader won't bother with me." Wu Jianxing responded, "That's not it. If I weren't Chuanxing's leader, you'd all be the same to me. Types I'd cut down on sight. But as Chuanxing's leader, I can't judge you by those standards. Storming Trinity Gate or indulging Wu Man's whims, those were things they wanted. But you, Brother Liang, asking for my help, what do you even want? If you don't say, how can I help?" With that, Wu Jianxing turned to leave, saying, "Figure it out and let me know." Watching Wu Jianxing walk away, Bai Xiao shouted, "Wu Jianxing, let me feel that thrill again." Wu Jianxing turned back. "Brother Liang, that's a tough ask, don't you think?" Meanwhile, Jin Feng nearby cursed at Bai Xiao. "What nonsense are you spouting?" Bai Xiao quickly clarified, "I mean, let me feel that rush again." Understanding Bai Xiao's intent, Wu Jianxing replied, "In all of Chuanxing, when it comes to chaos, you're second to none. What's left that you wouldn't dare do? Isn't that thrilling enough?" But Bai Xiao said his whole life had hardly been thrilling. He stopped himself mid-sentence, as memories flashed through his mind, smashing his master's head, stabbing his senior brother's eye with a soft bone, and defiling a Tang clan kid's daughter right in front of him. Thinking of this, Bai Xiao burst into laughter. That was pure ecstasy. It felt so good, like my soul was soaring out of my skull. Then he said to Wu Jianxing, "But too many vile deeds numb you. No matter how many I do, They just ease my frustration a bit. They don't bring back that thrill. Wu Jinsheng, help me. Help me find that feeling again. Wu Jinsheng let out a long sigh. As expected, as Chuanxing's leader, I have to look after my people. I've noticed when you act, it's like you're venting something, but you can't find a clear outlet, right? Bai Xiao snapped, displeased. Are you trying to discipline me? Wu Jinsheng quickly said. If you were manageable, someone would have done it already. My thought is, since what you've done hasn't thrilled you, there's no point continuing. Why not bottle up that frustration and save it for now? Then Wu Jinsheng made a second request, pulling out a half-meter-long silver needle and telling Bai Xiao to wear it. Bai Xiao shouted, "What the hell, Wu Jinsheng, what's this for?" Wu Jinsheng grinned slyly and said, "I've thought of a way to fix your issue, but I need to fetch something and be gone a few days. While I'm away, you stay put here. I'll have Jin Feng and Lu Qing watch you." Then he turned to Jin Feng and ordered, "Keep a close eye on him, but I'm not saying let him die by your or Lu Qing's hands." And so, the next day, Wu Jinsheng left the hideout. When he returned, Bai Zhao's hands were bound by Jin Feng and Xia Luqing, kneeling beside them. Seeing Wu Jinsheng, Xia Luqing shouted, "This bastard sealed meridians still won't behave. I'm sick of dealing with him every day." Bai Xiao mocked Xia Luqing. "Haha, who'd have thought a punk like you would turn into Jin Feng's good little boy?" As they bickered, Wu Jinsheng tossed an object onto the ground. Seeing it, Bai Xiao asked, startled, "What's that thing?" Wu Jinsheng told Bai Xiao, "This is the self-created heavenly demon curse, won from a bet with a mad monk. It's said to be the only copy left in the world. But this secret curse isn't exactly good. It lets the user experience anything they can imagine in an inner realm, indulging all their frustrations, like being ensnared by a heavenly demon. Can you believe it?" Pause. Unable to vent his frustrations anymore, he sought Wu Jinsheng's help to relieve his pent-up anger. So Wu Jinsheng found him a secret text called the self-created heavenly demon curse. Bai Xiao took the text, entered an ancient tower, and began his seclusion. When he activated the curse, he quickly entered the inner realm. This realm was like a virtual world, where you could do anything you wanted. Murder, arson, rape, or plunder, all at will. Wu Jinsheng hoped this curse would let Bai Xiao vent his frustrations. While Bai Xiao indulged in the inner realm, Wu Jinsheng and the others stood guard outside the tower. During a chat, Jin Feng asked Xia Luqing, "Think that bastard Bai Xiao can master the curse? Can he enter the inner realm?" Xia Luqing replied, "Don't underestimate him. From day to now, no movement. He's definitely in." Wu Jinsheng chimed in, "Someone who's honed their skills to his level won't be stumped by a mere curse. Getting in is easy, getting out's the hard part. Even I lingered in there a whole day. Before I went in, I thought I'd come and go freely." Just as Wu Jinsheng finished, a wail from Bai Xiao echoed from the tower. The group jumped to their feet. Jin Feng, incredulous, asked Wu Jinsheng, "No way, you lingered a day? And he's out this fast?" Running toward the tower, Wu Jinsheng replied, "I lingered about a day. To be safe, I even visualized the sun and moon cycling. When I saw the second day's shift, I knew I had to get out." Moments later, they reached the tower's interior, finding Bai Xiao collapsed, trembling on the ground. Seeing them, he mumbled, "I barely survived." Wu Jinsheng quickly asked, "Did you find something thrilling?" Bai Xiao, dejected, said, "I did everything I could think of, nearly burned myself out, but it still didn't work." Wu Jinsheng scratched his head. "Guess it failed after all. Looks like shortcuts won't cut it. If shortcuts don't work, it's not urgent. Just hold it in. Stick with me from now on." From then, like Jin Feng, Bai Xiao became one of Wu Jinsheng's closest allies. Surprisingly, Bai Xiao honored his deal with Wu Jinsheng. The old acts of murder, rape, and pillage, he truly stopped. Instead, Wu Jinsheng took him to seek new experiences, exploring unvisited secret realms, marveling at strange and wondrous sights. Whether brawling in the streets, or racing dogs, or shouting bets in gambling dens, anything went, just to keep Bai Xiao chasing new thrills. When Bai Xiao couldn't hold it in anymore, Wu Jinsheng would take him to a deserted spot and let him wreak havoc, venting his pent-up rage. And so, Bai Xiao stuck by Wu Jinsheng's side for 2 full years, until that day, when Wu Jinsheng rallied Chuanxing's crew, planning to lend Tang Min a hand in ambushing and assassinating the Biha tribe's ninja leader. Once the team was assembled, Wu Jinsheng briefed everyone. "This job's dangerous as hell. Don't underestimate those bastards." But what shocked Wu Jinsheng most was that Bai Xiao insisted on coming along. So Wu Jinsheng gave him a special warning. "Brother Liang, you can join, but if your reckless crap screws up Tongmin's plan, don't blame me for turning on you." Bai Xiao just grinned darkly. "I'm about to burst. These little ninja punks will let me kill to my heart's content. As long as I get everything else is negotiable." Seeing no way around it, Wu Jinsheng told Bai Xiao, "Do what you want with the ninjas. Kill as many as you like. If you've got the skill, beat Tang Min to the punch, and take the ninja leader's head." But when the real fight with the ninjas kicked off, they realized the ninja soldiers were far tougher than the ninja rabble. Every ninja soldier was decked out in top gear, and Wu Jinsheng's Chuanxing crew had nearly all been wiped out. Now, only Wu Jinsheng remained. He asked Bai Xiao, "Had your fill of killing?" Bai Xiao glanced at his blood-soaked hands and growled, "Still feels like I'm choking." Then he turned to Wu Jinsheng. "If word got out about what Tang Min pulled today, wouldn't they be heroes in the world's eyes?" Wu Jinsheng nodded. "Damn right they would. Bai Xiao pressed on. So if I went and lopped off every Tangman head here, then spilled it to the world, what do you think'd happen? Wu Jinsheng replied coldly. You'd be a dead man. Bai Xiao burst out laughing. Plenty already want my head. I'm asking you. What did the world think of me? Wu Jinsheng shot back. They wouldn't think anything. You pulling that? No one bat an eye. It's just what you do. The two bantered as they trudged on. When they reached Tongman's prearranged retreat point, Wu Jinsheng suddenly aimed a gun at Bai Xiao's head. He said calmly, at a time like this, if you dare move against Tangman, don't blame me for putting a bullet in your skull. But Bai Xiao didn't give a damn about Wu Jinsheng's threat. He even told Wu Jinsheng to shut up, because he'd spotted a familiar figure standing ahead. The moment he saw that figure, a long-lost thrill surged in his chest. But what was this thrill? Damn, it was intriguing. I've done every damn thing there is, he thought. That guy's probably hunting me down. Huh, bet he wants to grind my bones to dust. Should I kill him? Or slaughter them all? Nah, I've done that too many times. It'd be boring as hell. But what if I save them instead? How'd they look at me then? That'd be a riot, right? Hell yeah, that's the feeling. Just thinking about it's got my legs shaking. That's it. This is what I've been after all along. See, Bai Xiao was so damn ugly that from birth, his family treated him like trash. His father raised him like a monster. After joining a sect, his master used him like a servant. Don't even get me started on how his brothers bossed him around. You could say Bai Xiao grew up under everyone's cold glares. Only when he smashed his old man's skull did the guy finally look him in the eye. His brother's shocked stares back then, pure bliss. Now, a voice in his head screamed, come on, look at me. Open your damn eyes wide. Stare at me. Pop your eyeballs out. Shrink your pupils to pins. I want every one of you gaping at me. This is what I want. The whole world staring back at me, eyes full of shock and disgust. Bai Xiao finally got it. After 50+ years, as the top master of ink gold soft bone, his whole life was chasing a pair of eyes. What a damn waste. Lived like a gutless ghost. Half a century gone, to figure out he was after this. Quit it. Nah, let me get one last high. One final, earth-shaking rush. Then I'll kick it for good. Yeah, that's the look. Maybe I, Bai Xiao Liang Ting, still got a better path to chase. But damn, that look in his eyes feels so good, when it all wrapped up. As Wu Jinsheng and the others headed back to Chuanxing's base, Jinfeng suddenly asked Wu Jinsheng, is Liang Ting dead too? Gao Genxiang cut in first. That beast could die 1,000,000 times, and it'd still be too kind. Shame, though, Softbone thinks it's a bit of a waste. But Wu Jinsheng said, right then, it's like he broke free from whatever was chaining him. Just picked the worst damn time to do it. Poor bastard. We all know, the martial world's full of jaw-dropping secrets. Like, why did Wu Jinsheng mess with the 24 joint bone passages patterns? Was it really just to keep it from the wrong hands? Why'd he seize the 9 miracles? To cap the limits of martial cultivation? Do the 9 miracles feed or counter each other? Or is it just that 9th one? The one Wu that can rule or crush the other 8? And Wu Jinsheng's murky origins, that divine spirit essence in him. From which dynasty is it? How many years has it been reborn? Next up, let's dig for answers in the Nisan Arc. A cargo ship at sea hit a snag. Its navigation systems failed, signals vanished. The ship veered off course. 2 crewmen rushed to check. But what they saw froze them in their tracks. A mysterious figure in a hat, face hidden, stood on the ship's railing, staring at them. The crewmen couldn't tell if he was one of theirs. They yelled, asking what the stranger wanted, but he didn't answer. Instead, he dove into the sea. It scared the hell out of them. They shouted, God help us, while rushing to the railing. But the stranger was gone. All they saw was the ocean and a wisp of black hair. Scene shift. The mysterious figure reached a forest. Suddenly, a weary voice called from a cave. What do you think this place is? Your personal drop-in spot. The stranger sat on a rock, silent, then countered. You planning to rot here forever? The cave voice replied. What else? I've got no wants, no needs. Life's pretty peaceful here, isn't it? Plus, I've made a new friend. Word is, they came from our side too. The mysterious figure gave a dark chuckle and said, on my way here, I saw countless bodies rotting in the wild. You call this peace? The cave dweller shrugged it off. That's just how it works here. What you saw is this place's peace. Why not stick around a few years before you go? You come and go as you please anyway. Leave when you feel like it. The mysterious figure brushed off the invitation. He had things to do. The cave dweller asked, what? You trying to end what happened back then? The figure replied, nah, that's not my plan. I don't have the skill or the guts for that. I'm just chasing a little obsession of mine. Hearing this, the cave dweller fell silent. After who knows how long, they said, you tired of living? But no answer came. The mysterious figure was already gone. Meanwhile, Zhang Chulan and Zhang Lingyu arrived at the scene. Zhang Chulan jumped in, urging, everyone cool it. We didn't meet in Beijing or in Tianjin. Since we all agreed to talk in Langfang, doesn't that mean nobody wants this to blow up, right? Look, I don't have the clout to mediate for you all, but this is the job the company gave me. Cut me some slack. Zhang Chulan turned to Leopard Master. Leopard Master, your Master Shi's brother from Shigu Pavilion. You're a big deal. Why sweat this mess? And you, Brother Yong, give your brother some face. Let this go. Then he faced the Zaidaoyuan 3 brothers. You guys, we go way back. Don't make trouble for me. I just got back from Jiangxi. Haven't even caught my breath. And I'm out here running around for you. It ain't easy. Give me some face. Drop this. Zai Taoyuan shot back. It's not about disrespecting you, Zhang Chulan. This guy from Liuli Factory comes stirring shit on Ancient Culture Street. Did he not earn that beating? Zhao Yong's temper flared. You Zai Taoyuan punks think you run the show? My brother goes there and gets jumped? That what you're saying? As the argument heated up, looking like it had come to blows, Zhang Lingyu stepped in. Put your petty grudges aside. We're all in the circle here. This hot-headed nonsense looked good to you. Forgot how to keep your cool. Right as Zhang Lingyu finished, someone piped up. Who the hell's this long-haired guy? Before Zhang Lingyu could introduce himself, someone else recognized him. Ain't that Zhang Lingyu? Mad for a woman. Wrecked for a woman. Lost it all over some chick. Heard Tianshi Mansion kicked him out. Now he's Billian's errand boy. Go home and cry to your girl. You got no say here. The crowd's mockery hit hard. Zhang Lingyu's face darkened. Zhang Chulan quickly held him back. Little uncle, don't lose your cool. We gotta stay classy. Zhao Yong turned to Zhang Chulan. Don't say we're not giving you face. If Zai Taoyuan apologizes to my brother, we can settle this. Before Zhang Chulan could respond, Zai Taoyuan cut in. Don't push it. Who are you, some poser, to call shots? You think you get a say? Besides, a grown-ass man, wearing all pink, looking that flashy. You here to settle things, or just to entertain us? Zhao Yong snapped. You got a problem with what I wear? Long as my fists are big enough, I settle things in anything. Zai Taoyuan sneered. You? Settle things? Maybe if Leopard Master says something. Then they started chanting with their crew, ending with pink idiot. Zhao Yong's veins bulged with rage. He called his boys to throw down. Just as things were about to spiral, a voice cut through. Well, this is lively. Everyone turned to look. It was Feng Baobao. Zai Taoyuan spotted her, and quickly shouted a greeting. Feng Baobao waved Lu Feng over. He scurried to her side, all eager. Feng Baobao kicked him flying. Lu Feng, sprawled on the ground, told his brothers, we're screwed. This fight's done. Zhang Chulan saw Feng Baobao, and hurried over, asking, you're back, Sister Bao? Where's Old Wang? Feng Baobao replied. Old Wang said he's burned out. Went back to recover. While explaining to Zhang Lingyu why she jumped in, a big guy nearby strode up to Feng Baobao. Who the hell are you? Beating down anyone who speaks. Before he could finish, Feng Baobao landed a massive slap, smacking him senseless. The big guy hit the ground, eyes rolling out cold. Zhao Yong saw his brother go down, and stepped up to Feng Baobao. Name yourself. I'll take you on. No talk of sides. Straight up duel. Let's see. What smoke stove mad dragon Zhao Yong's got? Zhang Chulan heard the name, and it rang a bell. He recalled that guy. Wang Jinxiu roughed up so bad, he needed a shrink for a year. Wasn't that this guy? With that in mind, Zhang Chulan grinned and approached Zhao Yong. Brother Yong. Why didn't you say sooner? If you dropped your name, we'd have sorted this out. Everything's negotiable. Zhao Yong scoffed. I gave you my name, out of respect for the rules. What? You heard of me? Zhang Chulan slung an arm over Zhao Yong's shoulder, saying, who hasn't heard of Brother Yong's name? You're a damn legend. If you'd named yourself earlier, I'd have vouched for you. Zhao Yong snapped. Today, no one's vouching works. Zhang Chulan ignored him, pressing on. You got a friend, who's tight with me. Like, life or death tight. Friend of a friend. Doesn't that make us buddies too? Zhao Yong looked baffled. Who's my friend? Zhang Chulan said, dead serious. Southwest Diliu. What, you forgot? At that name. Zhao Yong broke into a cold sweat. He turned to the guy who got beat. Brother, I think you stirring up trouble on their turf was definitely your fault. We've got to be reasonable. You deserve this beating. Those words stunned the beaten brother. He was dumbfounded. What's that supposed to mean? We're just letting this slide? Zhao Yong turned to Leopard and said, Leopard, I just remembered. I've got something to handle at home. My fourth. So I gotta rush back to help. Brother, I'm heading out. Zhang Chulan, hearing this, quickly stopped him and said, don't go, Yonga. We need you to mediate this mess. Zhao Yong immediately backed off. Brother Zhang, they're big city folks. I'm from a small place. I can't handle this. Zhang Chulan hurriedly told Feng Baobao to call Xiao Taoyuan and clear things up. Feng Baobao asked, are you three still fighting? The three brothers, seeing Feng Baobao, didn't dare keep causing trouble. They quickly put on smiles. No more fighting. We're all family. We welcome our brothers across to visit. Have tea, play mahjong, whatever. Seeing this, Zhang Chulan told them to shake hands and make peace. The group bonded like old friends, nearly ready to swear brotherhood right there. Just then, a hey came from the side. It was Leopard speaking. Lighting a cigarette, he continued, the company's got such a fine lady, pretty face, great figure, really something. Then, with one arm, he draped it around Feng Baobao and said, brother won't give anyone face today, but I'll give you face, little sister. Come hang out at my Shigu pavilion sometime. With that, he left with his crew. After they were gone, Zhang Chulan said to Feng Baobao, Bow it, didn't Susi teach you before? Anyone who gets handsy with you gets dealt with. Feng Baobao replied, he did teach me, but actions and gender aren't absolute standards for judgment. What matters most is their vibe. And that guy's chi wasn't sleazy. Meanwhile, after Leopard and his crew walked off, a lackey asked, confused, Leopard, we just let a little girl chase us off like that. Leopard said, your leopard ga may act reckless, but my eyes are sharp. That girl's not someone to mess with. Back at the company, Zhang Chulan asked Susi, what's up? Fourth ga, why the rush? Got a mission? Susi replied, not a heavy workload, not too tricky, but this job's critical. It's high level. It involves foreign affairs. All of you, take this seriously. Don't screw it up. Hearing foreign affairs, Zhang Chulan was shocked. Susi explained further. A week from now, top figures from the global e-community will meet here. Among them, our company's boss Zhao, along with e-representatives, will meet the master of Nathan Island. This is the Nathan King's first public appearance since taking the throne. Zhang Lingyu asked Susi curiously, "What's this Nathan Island King thing?" Susi replied, "It's normal you haven't heard of it. Even I only learned about Nathan Island's existence when I officially took over. But in terms of history, the Nathan King rivals your celestial master's mansion. These people existed back in ancient Rome. They lived in forests, worshipping a forest god. Their sacred relic is a divine tree, guarded by their high priest, also known as their king. According to them, under the divine tree's protection, their people are born as children of the god." Zhang Chulan scoffed. "Same old story. These guys are born superior." Lighting a cigarette, Susi countered. "This group's different. They're children of the god, have divine powers." He asked if Zhang Chulan remembered the body refining furnace. Zhang Chulan was stunned, incredulously asking, "Are they and their descendants all E?" Susi calmly confirmed, then continued, "Due to their nature, the children of the god, along with the divine tree, vanished, erased from the world's official history. From then on some island in this world, a tree and a group of people appeared. This island and its people have existed for over a millennium, yet never appeared in any public record. You won't find a single map marking its location. Even satellite images you see have been doctored. It exists only in history, in sealed government archives, and dark web rumors. The people living there are a group that, in our society, essentially don't exist. That's Nathan Island, the Yi's Island, a place not recognized." Hearing this, Zhang Lingyu asked curiously, "So this island's just a bunch of Europeans?" But Susi said, "Not necessarily. After Nathan was born, they made a deal with those who forced their migration. They wouldn't be recognized, but they'd be left alone. Over time, other races and powers gradually accepted this. But the world's not so big that you can hide forever. No matter how secret a place, it'll eventually be exposed. Nathan Island's no exception. Over nearly a millennium, outsiders have landed there. Of course, those who find the Yi's Island and survive aren't pushovers. Per Nathan Island's deal with the outside, outsiders who arrive must face a choice. Either leave immediately. What the outside world does with them is no concern of the islanders, or become a new islander. If they choose to join, it means abandoning their old identity. In other words, they vanish from their original world. Under such harsh terms, those who stay are mostly outcasts, with nowhere else to go. That's what it means to become part of Nathan Island, erased from the world they knew. Under these strict conditions, those who choose to stay are likely those rejected by the outside world, with no other place to turn. And these new islanders, they could come from anywhere in the world. Over time, Nathan Island became a multi-ethnic, multicultural gathering place. The children born on the island would be blessed by divine arts. So the only common trait among people on Nathan Island is that they're all variants. It's an island entirely of variants, and the master of this island is the heir of the high priest, the king of Nathan. At this point, Zhang Chulan asked, "Who exactly is this king? Why can't he just stay on the island? What's he wandering around for?" Shuesi explained, "No one has seen the king before. This time, the king is revealing their identity. If nothing major happened, the king might never have appeared at all. Not just outsiders. Even the islanders have almost never seen the king. All communication with the outside world is handled by the 9 variants who protect the king. They are the Nathan Guard. These 9, along with the king, are the only people from Nathan Island with official identities. This time, the king's purpose is said to be discussing with the world plans to develop Nathan Island. In reality, they're asking for resources. Normally, the Nathan Guard would handle this, but now that the king is here personally, they probably want a lot. The last king showed up for the same reason, and really took a bite out of everyone in the UK. This time, the king insisted on meeting here, because they know our country. They're basically here to freeload." After saying that, Susi handed Zhang Chulan a file containing the information on the Nathan Guard. Zhang Chulan took it and asked, "So how is the king chosen?" Susi said, "No one knows the exact details. Normally, when the previous king dies, the divine arts designate a child born on the island as the new king." Zhang Lingyu asked in confusion, "That's the normal case. What about the abnormal one?" Susi made a throat-slashing gesture and calmly said, "Kill the king, and you become the new king." While Zhang Lingyu marveled at the brutality of Nathan Island, Zhang Chulan noticed something odd in the file. She stared at a familiar photo and asked, "Susi ji, is this person also part of the Nathan Guard?" Susi said, "Yeah. His name's Elijah. You should know him. You met him at the 24 Solar Terms Valley, and he was someone our own by Dong personally kept an eye on." Right after saying that, Susi seemed to remember something else, and warned Zhang Chulan, "I know what you're thinking. That guy's identity is complicated. Don't you go messing things up for me." Zhang Chulan could only reply helplessly, "Got it." Seeing she didn't plan to, Susi leaned back in his chair and assigned tasks. "Your job's pretty simple. The meeting venue's almost set up. Just block off the roads when you guys will help Lao Sen check credentials. No ID, no entry. Most of the vehicles are from the company. You'll recognize them. If regular civilians try to get in, Find your own way to turn them back. If anyone from our circles tries to cause trouble, arrest them. Doesn't matter where they're from. After that, Su Si tossed them a few hearing aids to help with foreign communication. On the evening of the meeting day, the three of them followed Su San to verify credentials. Zhang Lingyu even praised the hearing aid nonstop. Seeing that nothing major was happening, Zhang Chulan stepped aside, intending to smoke. But before she could light up, a car arrived, and it wasn't one of the company cars. Su San told Zhang Chulan. Su San approached the car and asked the passengers for ID. But suddenly, a stone shot out from the car and hit Su San directly on the head. Then the car crashed through the barricade and sped forward. The three heard the noise and were immediately startled. The next moment, the car was already rushing toward them. Zhang Chulan shouted loudly for Feng Baobao to stop the car and told Zhang Lingyu to save Su San. While still airborne, Feng Baobao drew the blade strapped to her leg, and as she reached the side of the car, she slashed at the tire with a single stroke. With a hiss of air leaking, the car spun on the road and finally came to a stop. The sound of the door opening followed. But by then, Feng Baobao had already leapt high and rushed in, while Zhang Chulan and the others outside the venue were dealing with the intruder incident. The venue inside was ready to welcome the king. President Zhao was chatting with an elderly foreigner, lamenting the sacrifice of their predecessors. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Mr. Zhao, long time no see," interrupting the conversation. It was Ishikawa Shin, head of the Ishikawa-style sword school. After greeting the foreigner, Ishikawa asked Zhao to speak privately. Once in private, he said to Zhao, "Mr. Zhao, I sincerely apologize for the past misunderstandings between us and Rinha Company." Zhao immediately saw through his intentions and interrupted him directly. "No need to say more, sir. Zhuan and the demons have been missing for years. I understand how you feel, but this is our land. If you're here as a tourist, you're very welcome. But if you have other intentions, you must go through us to achieve them. Let me be clear. If we were really after Zhuan, then I guarantee you would never see that demon blade again. I also know, Mr. Ishikawa, you've sacrificed a lot to protect that sword. I swear on my honor, if I ever find Zhuan." Ishikawa had nothing more to say. He simply bowed and thanked Zhao. Just then, a foreigner came over and said to Zhao, "President Zhao, isn't your king running a bit late? As the host, I think it's necessary to remind your king of his place." Zhao gave a faint smile and called Su Si, who was flirting nearby, to go and check what was going on. Just then, Zhang Chulan walked in through the door and loudly announced, "King's Path, everyone." That one sentence drew everyone's attention. Su Si felt uneasy seeing Zhang. Wasn't this kid supposed to be outside? How did he get in here? But he didn't take it seriously. Instead, he mockingly said to Zhao, "This guy really has no presence. What a disgrace. Just look at that clueless face." But Zhao looked at the people entering and asked, "Weren't there supposed to be 4 monks? Why are there only 2? The one in the middle must be the king, right?" But when Zhao saw clearly who it was, he forcibly swallowed the words he was about to say. For a moment, he didn't know what to do, because the king of the monks was actually Feng Baobao. As she entered, she greeted everyone in a strange dialect. "Nice to meet you all. I am the monk king." The foreigners present were completely baffled. Zhao and Su Si were sweating bullets, totally lost on what to do. Zhang Anjin quietly reminded Zhao to proceed with the ceremony. "We'll explain later." Zhao, a seasoned veteran, quickly composed himself and stepped forward to greet her. Zhang Chulan began introductions. "This is our chairman of Chuanqing, Mr. Zhao Fengxiu." Feng Baobao nodded and said in dialect, "So this fat guy is your boss?" Zhang Chulan quietly reminded her, "Your Majesty, you don't have to mimic the dialect too." Zhao quickly jumped in to smooth things over. "Respected king, please allow me to introduce to you the guests here to meet with you today. They are William Spencer, Director of the European Emerald Society, William Spencer, President of the Sons of the Earth, Lilia Zemina, and Master Banswang of the Thai Arts Pavilion." While Mr. Zhao was introducing others, Ishikawa Nobu said to his companion, "This king speaks Chinese very well. No wonder he insisted on coming here to meet everyone." But his son raised a question. "Is this really the king of Nazan Island? Because so far, no one but the Nazan guard has seen the king's true face. How can we be sure he's the real king?" Ishikawa explained, "According to the records, those 2 pairs beside him are indeed Nazan guards, and the only ones they guard are the king and the sacred tree. That's the best proof. Because the Nazan guards are born on the island, chosen from birth, taught by the island's elders. The first thing they learn is to have absolute loyalty to the king and the tree. Unconditionally guarding them is their sole purpose in life. They're even purer than we are. Perfect warriors ready at any time to give everything for the king. So having these 9 guarding him is the best proof of his identity." But the woman beside Ishikawa said, "We're not the only ones doubting this king. And it's not just doubt. Look at how everyone is eyeing him." Just as everyone harbored doubt, a voice came from the side. It was the blonde guy who earlier reminded Mr. Zhao that the king was late. He stepped forward and said to Feng Baobao, "Finally, we meet. Respected king, you're nothing like I imagined. What a surprise. I'm Ron Keller, director of Behemoth." Mr. Zhao began introducing to Feng Baobao. "King, this is a company from the US." But Ron cut him off immediately and said, "Our company serves all people of the world, including those of Nazan, of course." Then he reached out his hand and continued, "Very pleased to meet you, my queen." Feng Baobao reached out and shook his hand, but then seemed to recall something, and said, "This is a knowledge point. I learned this one." Zhang Chulan, hearing this, felt numb all over. "My ancestor, please. Not now. Not your episodic wit again." Then Feng Baobao looked at Mr. Zhao for confirmation, and after making sure it was a formal setting, said, "I read in a book. In formal occasions, if the woman is of higher status or older, then in that case, does that mean this person is being rude? Or do you think you're higher in status than me, or older than I am?" Ron was left speechless. The others around, seeing Ron get slapped, all burst into laughter. Ron could only apologize to Feng Baobao, saying he was too excited and got carried away. Feng Baobao generously released his hand and forgave him, but Ron seemed bitter about the earlier embarrassment, so he asked, "Your Majesty, if I recall correctly, the native language of Nazan Islanders is English, right? I didn't expect you to speak Chinese." Feng Baobao replied calmly, "I've always spoken Chinese. Why, is that a problem?" Ron got shut down again, and could only mutter awkwardly, "No problem, no problem." Alfonso, seeing this, sneered and said, "What an unexpected choice of woman." Elijah, who had met Feng Baobao, said, "I didn't expect it would be her stopping us, even on the island. This woman would be a surprising existence." Looking at Ron in the distance, whose face had turned green from Feng Baobao's remarks, Ishikawa said to his son, "Do you still doubt this king's identity? In Chinese belief, an empty title means nothing. Only when a name matches reputation and substance is it valid. That's what they call living up to the name. Moreover, between people, there's no such thing as equality. In the realm of true character, if the status gap is too wide, a lower-ranked person cannot affect a superior one through insults or flattery. It's like you wouldn't care if a dog despises or envies you. Conversely, between people, no matter the relationship, the moment you start caring about how someone sees you, you've already acknowledged your lower status. Take that Ron, for example, or really everyone present, regardless of their real status. The so-called aura of superiority they exude. Did it affect our king who's busy eating in the slightest? Whether he is a wise ruler or a fool, let's not discuss that now. But just from his demeanor, how free he is, how unrestrained, even without the Nazan guards, I'd still believe he's the king of Nazan Island. Now that no one was questioning Feng Baobao's identity, Mr. Zhao pulled Zhang Chulan aside to ask about the situation. Zhang Chulan explained, "Mr. Zhao, Brotherford told us, if there's trouble, no matter where they're from, we handle it immediately, but I never imagined the troublemakers would be people from Nazan Island itself." Mr. Zhao didn't quite understand at first, so he asked Zhang Chulan to explain plainly. Zhang Chulan simply said, "Sister Bao beat up the Nazan king." Mr. Zhao instantly broke into a cold sweat. Zhang Chulan continued, "Mr. Zhao, you know Sister Bao never haggles. You offer her a full job, she won't just do 90%. Brotherford said, if there's trouble, strike first." So when Sister Bao saw people get out of the car, she kicked one flying right away, then went up and stomped him again. If not for a few Nazan guards stepping in, one of them shouted in anger, "How dare you assault our most revered king?" As those Nazan guards stepped up to help their king, I recognized the foreigner. We met at the 24 Solar Valleys. Then I compared their info to the profiles we had. I'm sure they're all real Nazan guards, and the one they were crowding around, the one Sister Bao beat like a melon, was the king of Nazan Island. Then the king asked, "Elijah, do you know them?" Elijah replied, "I had been They were our opponents midway. The one who hit you, that's the woman I told you about." The king murmured, "What an unexpected turn," then handed over their documents. The others looked at the company pass and stared blankly, not knowing what to say. The king asked directly, "Now that things have come to this, what do you plan to do?" That question stumped everyone. No one dared speak. Seeing no one respond, the king continued, "Since it's already happened, blaming anyone is pointless, but in my current state, I can't attend the meeting." Hearing the king speak Chinese, Susan said, "You can speak our language? Could it be that you or your predecessors also came from here to Nathan Island?" Actually, it's a misunderstanding. But before she could finish speaking, the king directly interrupted. "I don't want to hear any of that right now. I just want to resolve the current issue quickly. If I don't attend this meeting now, you'll have a hard time explaining it to others, right? So let's do this. Since this woman injured me, she'll temporarily replace me and attend the meeting." Susan immediately panicked. She asked the king if he was joking, but the king replied, "That's right, I'm joking. I want to play a joke on your organizers and all the distinguished guests. I'd like you all to cooperate with me a bit." Susan refused on the spot and said that they came with utmost sincerity. "The responsibility for hurting you is mine. I will take full responsibility." But the king didn't agree. He said, "You're all responsible, but the biggest responsibility lies with the woman who laid hands on me. And your company leader is responsible too. So your company has no authority to decide on this matter. Looks like we'll need to contact someone higher up to resolve this." He said this and prepared to leave, telling Yilia to notify the company. Susan quickly tried to stop him and asked what exactly the king wanted. The king still said the same thing. "I just want to play a joke with everyone. Nothing more." Then he asked Susan, "In your eyes, am I a king? Or how did your superiors introduce me?" Susan repeated the official introduction, word for word. "You are the ruler of Nathan Island, the king of Nathan with a 1,000-year legacy, a figure of utmost nobility." But her true thoughts couldn't escape the king's eyes. The king slowly said, "Before coming here, I had never left Nathan Island, but with limited electric supply, I obtained a great deal of information about the outside world. When a country welcomes royalty, this is not how it should be done. Not at this time, not at this place, and not with people like you receiving me. To you, this king of yours is just a big joke. So since I'm a joke, meeting you all in a joking manner makes perfect sense, doesn't it? The king believed his identity was nothing but a joke in others' eyes. He proposed that if Feng Baobao could pose as him for a day or two, then this offense could be treated as if it never happened. Before Susan could object, he continued, I'm going to treat my wounds and tour the city. By the way, you really didn't want me to come, huh? There's not even a slot for that in the itinerary. But don't worry, in 2 days, I'll show up and explain everything. This was my own willfulness, and all the responsibility is mine. This was my fault. I will bear all the consequences. Thinking it was decided, he offered to replace the king himself, but the king refused directly. He said it was Feng Baobao who offended him, so she must be the one to take responsibility. Besides, I don't want a man to pay New Year's respects to me. It's settled then. I'll send Yilia and Alfonso to accompany you. That should be enough to prove as a sign of goodwill. You'll be my guide. Also, before meeting your leaders, don't inform them of our decision. After all, the essence of a joke is surprise. Zhang Chulan leaned over and whispered to Susan, Sanji, something's definitely going on here. Susan clearly understood the implications. He told Zhang Chulan to follow the king's plan for now, and wait until they saw Boss Zhao. After telling the whole story to Boss Zhao, Zhang Chulan said, It's simple really. The king of Nathan basically screwed us over, but he said it was just for fun. Isn't that just fooling idiots? Boss Zhao glanced at Xiao Zizai and said, Xiao, you know what to do, right? Xiao Zizai adjusted his glasses and replied, Yes. Boss Zhao, still worried, asked again, Do you really know what to do? Xiao Zizai sneered and said, Why not just kill the real king and let one of our own take over Nathan Island? Boss Zhao exploded. Don't you dare mess with me like that. Upgrade our security now and let Heir Zhuang take control of all the information he can get. Boss Zhao gave more orders. Chulan, you keep an eye on Feng Baobao. Xiao Si, go verify the identity of everyone present. This is no joke. The king of Nathan making such a move. It can't just be for laughs. Making Feng Baobao a stand-in must be a precaution, and the fact they're doing this means they're already sure something in this meeting is worth guarding against. Then, as if he remembered something terrifying, he murmured to himself, No way, that was centuries ago. Then he walked toward Feng Baobao and said to her, Your Majesty, it's getting late. Your room is ready. You may rest now. We look forward to tomorrow's official meeting. After clearing the whole floor, Boss Zhao took Zhang Chulan and Zhang Lingyu to the surveillance room. He said from now on, anyone seen in this surveillance feed should be considered suspicious. Outside Feng Baobao's room, Yilia looked at the overly cautious Alfonso and said, No need to be so tense. It's not the real king inside. But Alfonso replied, Even if he hurt our king, I don't know why, but I don't dislike him. Besides, he fell into our trap. If he dies as a stand-in, I would feel guilty. Sacrificing for the king, that's supposed to be our duty. Yilia calmly replied, If that's the case, then relax a little more. Nothing might happen tonight. Nothing's happened along the way, right? But we don't know how many they'll send, or what methods they'll use, or when, or where they'll strike. This will be a long battle. We'll need enough patience. At that moment, a faint noise came from Feng Baobao's room. A mysterious black figure appeared inside. At the same time, in another room of the venue, someone was doing something on a bed. With a rustling sound, a knife made of paper appeared in his hand. Strangely, the black figure in Feng Baobao's room also held a knife. The figure moved nimbly through the room, looking for a chance, but Feng Baobao seemed to sense something, and suddenly sat up. Her eyes were fixed on the direction the shadow had just appeared. However, the whole room was silent with no sign of the shadow. Everything remained with the main body. The shadow's actions left no trace behind. This was a forbidden technique passed down through the family. Not even colleagues or mentors knew about it, so no one could prepare for it in advance. What exactly is going on? Seeing that nothing unusual happened, Feng Baobao lay back down to sleep. But the mysterious intruder didn't know if he had been discovered or not. Cold sweat streamed down his face. He silently wondered if this was a trap, waiting to catch him once he appeared again. That monk king is truly terrifying, but it's too late to back out now. He muttered an apology under his breath and charged at Feng Baobao with his blade. But just as he got close, at the same time, the Nathan guards outside sensed it and rushed directly into the room. President Zhao in the monitoring room also quickly ordered Zhang Chulan and the others to check the situation. Then President Zhao gave an order to have the security team lock down the entire venue and wake everyone up. Confirm everyone's current status. Outside the door, Alfonso and his partner immediately sensed something wrong. The two of them rushed into the room to check on Feng Baobao, but what they saw was Feng Baobao calmly sitting on the bed. Feng Baobao then explained to them that she had noticed a faint smell in the room earlier. At first she thought it was just her imagination, but it turned out something really was in the room. When he tried to attack me, he was pushed back. But before Feng Baobao could finish speaking, Yilia reached out and pulled her up. Meanwhile, Alfonso remarked, that temporary formation really was useless. It collapsed after just one hit. Looks like the enemy is a real expert. We have to get out of here quickly. At this moment, the shadow hiding in the corner was secretly observing the three of them. He was quietly pleased, even though you turned on the lights, making it easier to expose me. Your shadows have also become much clearer. Thinking this, he floated out from behind them, his target clearly Feng Baobao. But to his surprise, Feng Baobao moved like she'd seen it coming. She turned her body, dodging the fatal strike. But during the hasty dodge, the blade in the shadow's hand still slashed at Feng Baobao's shadow. A cut appeared instantly on her neck, blood beads dripping down. After narrowly dodging the blow, Alfonso and Yahello finally saw clearly. It was a shadow attacking Feng Baobao. Yahello immediately opened fire at the shadow. Gunshots rang out, sparks flying everywhere. But the shadow was completely unharmed. Seeing this, Yahello commented, "Bullets don't work on him. It seems he's using some kind of sorcery, most likely a type of sympathetic magic." Alfonso asked Feng Baobao with curiosity, "Have you seen this thing before? How did you know how to dodge its attack?" Feng Baobao replied matter-of-factly, "I haven't seen it before. I just saw him slashing at my shadow, so I didn't want him to hit my shadow, that's all." Alfonso sighed in exasperation. What a woman with a baffling thought process. Yahello quickly pulled Alfonso's focus back and told him not to let his guard down. That thing was still lurking in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity, which means no place is truly safe right now. He could launch an attack from anywhere. As the three remained alert and cautious, Feng Baobao suddenly spoke up, saying she smelled a faint scent again. Alfonso sensed around and finally confirmed that the enemy was indeed using some kind of sorcery, though it was quite strange, but the refinement was far too low. Then he clenched his fist. In the blink of an eye, a faint light began to glow from his clenched fist. The light grew rapidly, illuminating the three of them. It revealed the shadow lurking just behind them. Alfonso slowly opened his tightly clenched fist. He muttered to himself, "You're not even worthy of being my opponent. You're not even true darkness. At best, you're a filthy soul." Just as he finished speaking, a blinding light burst forth from his hand. The shadow shrieked and was sent flying backwards. It was thrown violently back. The shadow that was blown away was deeply shocked inside. The light Alfonso released could actually harm him, just like the formation in the room. He silently cursed his luck to think he encountered someone who could emit such strange light. The worst part was that the light could actually hurt him. At that moment, Zhang Chulan and Zhang Lingyu finally arrived on the scene. Seeing the shadow on the ground, they didn't waste words. They immediately raised their hands and unleashed thunder magic. The shadow was so terrified his eyes nearly popped out. Damn it, these flashes of light look even more dangerous. If they hit me, I could die for real. So he frantically dodged and weaved through the lightning, avoiding every arc with all his might, outwardly agile, but inwardly screaming in frustration. What the hell? Have I been abandoned by fate? Everyone here seems capable of bullying me. This is absolutely intolerable. Then he immediately launched a counterattack, charging toward Zhang Chulan and Zhang Lingyu. "You better not let me touch your shadows." Seeing the shadow rush at them, Zhang Chulan and Lingyu instinctively used the golden light talisman for protection. Seeing them glowing gold, the shadow's face turned green. What the hell? Does everyone here glow? Is this all just to target me? Seeing the shadow too afraid to approach, Zhang Chulan couldn't help but mock. "So this thing's not so scary after all. Why can't it move when we use golden light?" Zhang Lingyu explained. "If it can dodge our thunder magic, it must be strong. But from its reaction to the golden light and lightning, according to our sect's teachings, this should be a Siesui." With that, Zhang Lingyu activated the golden light talisman again, trapping the shadow inside a golden glow. But the shadow spun around a few times on the spot, then dove for a crack in the floor. Realizing the shadow was trying to flee, Zhang Lingyu quickly warned the others, and together with Zhang Chulan, they unleashed thunder magic again. A wild barrage blasted at the shadow, but unfortunately, when the smoke cleared, the shadow had disappeared. Seeing this, Zhang Chulan reported the situation to Zhao Zong, then escorted the group to the main hall. On the way, Zhang Chulan asked Zhang Lingyu, "Sure Shu, you called that thing a do you know what it is?" Zhang Lingyu replied, "It seems your senior only taught you our sect's techniques, without explaining their meaning in depth. Actually, Siesui is a very broad concept. Strange spirits, cursed arts, even legendary demons can all be called Siesui. What they have in common is that they are born from human corruption and moral decay. Beasts can do good or evil. It's their nature. They have no choice. But humans are lords of all life, and with a single thought, can become demons. Even beings that exist independently, when they become Siesui, it must be linked to human physical or spiritual corruption." That thing looked like a shadow. Normally, light and shadow coexist, so it shouldn't fear light. But our methods are purely rooted in the dual energies of yin and yang. Those who master them may not be saints, but at least have upright minds and hearts when they learn. The light of golden light and thunder spells can be considered the light of life itself. If that shadow is being suppressed by our light, then I can say with certainty, that was an evil manifestation of human corruption in body and soul. Hearing Zhang Lingyu's words, Alfonso behind him said, "I don't know if this thing in my ear is translating your conversation correctly, but from the parts one understand, I quite appreciate your evaluation of that shadow." Meanwhile, on the other side, the mysterious figure who had controlled the shadow left the room. He was in total panic internally. Just being touched by that light had injured his real body. What exactly was that light? The sword company had begun checking everyone. He planned to use the stairs to avoid others. He told himself, I absolutely can't fail. If I can get through this search, I still have a chance. But just as he was heading downstairs, he ran right into two company staff members. Looking at the injured man, Brother Lu asked, do you need any help? But the mysterious man didn't speak. Instead, he balled up the paper in his hand. At the same time, a shadow appeared behind Brother Lu. Seeing something was wrong, Lu got ready to attack. But as the man raised the crumpled paper, the shadow simultaneously slammed its weapon onto the back of Lu's head. Lu didn't even know what hit him. Before collapsing unconscious, the mysterious man then raised the paper again and said, sorry, young lady. Just as Lu Yanyan was startled, unsure what to do, a big hand suddenly reached out, grabbing the man's wrist. Xiao Zizai's voice came from behind him. My friend, you really opened my eyes today. Not long after, in the hallway, Su Si asked Lu Yanyan, is Xiao Lu okay? Lu Yanyan replied, he's fine, just passed out. Su Si, a bit skeptical, asked, so you caught the guy? You couldn't even get those big dumplings into the venue. You're the most useless one here. How'd you catch him? Lu Yanyan smugly replied, use strength when you have it. Use brains when you don't. Don't worry how I caught him. Just know it's a big accomplishment. Shouldn't I get a raise for that? Su Si saw through her trick right away and said, sure, I'll raise your salary. After the finance office clears all those receipts of yours, one by one. Only then will you get your raise. Lu Yanyan pulled a bitter face and said, was that really necessary, CG? She had no choice but to admit the truth. It was some big shot from the company who helped us. Tall guy, wearing glasses. At the banquet earlier, he sat right across from me. After it was done, he spaced out for a bit, not sure what he was thinking. Then he told me to take the credit for catching the guy. CG, do you know who he is? Su Si said he didn't. They brought in people from all over the country to help. No one can know them all. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the hotel, Zhang Chulan and Yilia were talking in the hallway. Zhang Chulan said to Yilia, whatever it is you're planning, the fact is, our people stopped the assassin. You owe us one. Tell me anything you know about the person who hired you. Yilia replied helplessly, this again. I've already told you. When it comes to our employer, I have nothing to say. This will be the last time I tell you. Not revealing our client's info is a promise we made. After speaking, she entered the main hall. At that moment, inside the hall, leaders from all factions had gathered. The mysterious man knelt in the center, ready for interrogation. Boss Zhao spoke up. This is the one, right? He wasn't even in disguise. President Lilia. This person is your assistant? Lilia was furious upon hearing this. She grabbed her assistant by the collar and shouted, Larry, why did you do this? But Larry could only sob, repeating, I'm sorry, over and over. Seeing this, Lilia slapped him hard across the face. She roared, what use is saying sorry? Start talking now. But Larry, sobbing uncontrollably, said, kill me if you must, but please don't harm my wife and daughter. Then he started bowing repeatedly to the others. I beg you all, it's because I'm not strong enough. I really couldn't kill the king. I know you're out there. I know you can hear me. Please, do whatever you want of me. Just don't hurt my wife and daughter. Lilia angrily asked Larry, who are you talking to? Have you lost your mind? What happened to your wife Lisa? Larry could only explain. About a week ago, on the day he was accompanying Lilia to meet the Monk King, he received a package. The contents of that package demanded that he kill the Monk King at the meeting. Otherwise, they would kill Lisa and Mina. Lilia shouted, why didn't you seek help? From the police, our Earthborn Brotherhood. Even from me? Hearing Lilia's questioning, Larry quickly explained. They revealed so much in their threats. They knew everything. About me, about you, about the Earthborn. Most importantly, although I couldn't understand it fully, I'm certain the markings on my wife's body were spells. They're not normal people. They're just like us. Ron. I couldn't risk my wife and daughter's lives. I had no choice but to obey. Hearing Larry's words, Ron clapped his hands angrily. Then he shouted loudly, this is a horrifying act. Larry, I do feel sorry for you. But the truth is, you committed an unforgivable crime. Then he turned to Feng Baobao and said, Your Majesty, Larry and the people behind him. We of Behemoth will take care of it for you. At that moment, President Zhao spoke up calmly. Mr. Ron, please wait a moment. If by take care of it, you mean through normal legal means, then since Larry's actions occurred here, we have jurisdiction over the matter. But Ron replied, of course I don't mean legal procedures. You and I both know, for people like us, the legal route is rarely effective. We, Behemoth, and all those present. This is precisely why we exist. I hope everyone can place their trust in Behemoth. Trust in our commitment to freedom and justice. Trust that I possess the power to uphold them absolutely. Of course, we welcome cooperation with all of you. Let us together give the king a satisfying outcome. While Ron was delivering his impassioned speech, Feng Baobao suddenly spoke up. Wait, we're not satisfied. What outcome are you even offering me? Ron froze on the spot, embarrassed, speechless for a moment, then quickly explained, Your Majesty, though what this man did is understandable, it was still a crime. He must face consequences. But Feng Baobao looked puzzled. Weren't we not doing this through legal procedures? Then tell me, what crime did he commit? Once again, Ron was speechless. Then he forced a justification. This is a crime against humanity. To take another's life for personal reasons. That's wrong. It's unforgivable. At Behemoth, we cannot accept such crimes. But the ever-clever Feng Baobao suddenly said, enlightened. Oh, I get it now. So? Behemoth has never killed anyone, huh? Ron's face turned purple with anger upon hearing this. After holding it in for a while, he shouted loudly, "We are fighting to defend humanity's freedom and peace. We are battling those demons. We had no choice. Those we killed were all evil." Our sister Bao seemed to be deep in thought. Not long after, Feng Bao asked in confusion, "That's strange. He says you were wrong. You also said you were wrong. But where exactly did you go wrong? Let's see if this makes sense. If your greatest desire is to save your family, and you're certain that killing me is the only way to save them, then killing me would be the right thing to do. How is that wrong?" Ron was speechless, unsure how to respond. Then Feng Bao continued, "I get it. His mistake in this matter was probably not killing me." This statement left everyone deep in thought. Feng Bao continued speaking, "Right, I'm not wrong, am I? You need at least two perspectives to discuss right and wrong on this path. That Ron keeps fixating on one point, mixing up right and wrong. It's confusing me." At this moment, Xiao spoke up, "Respected king, Ron has his own stance. Naturally, he speaks with his own rhythm." Meanwhile, Lillian nearby seemed to understand Feng Bao's meaning. She then said to Feng Bao, "Merciful king, I know this is an almost absurd request, but I still want to ask you not to hold Larry accountable. All the children of the earth will remember your kindness." Feng Bao, however, asked in return, "Forgive him for what? I never blamed him." This statement shocked Larry nearby. Ron quickly tried to dissuade her. "He did try to harm you. How can you say you won't pursue it?" Feng Bao replied nonchalantly, "As I said, from his perspective, he wasn't wrong. But from my perspective, I don't want to die, and he couldn't kill me anyway." At this point, Feng Bao turned to Zhao and asked, "Can this go through the legal system?" Zhao replied, "It's difficult." Feng Bao slumped back in her chair. "The king's meaning is clear. I believe the priority now should be to find Larry's family. On this point, I think everyone here would help, right?" Feng Bao also pointed at everyone and said, "Yeah, exactly. You all should help him out." At this moment, Larry, kneeling on the ground, never expected this outcome. He cursed himself inwardly for being inhumane, for trying to kill such a gentle king, for his own selfish desires. Immediately, he shouted loudly, "King, I cannot express my gratitude enough. I, Larry, swear from this day forward, you are the second person, after President Lilia, who can command me. My life will be spent serving you and the president, and seeking revenge for my family." Feng Bao, however, replied calmly, "Want to work for me? Sure, but we don't even know if your family is dead or alive yet. What revenge are you talking about? If you want revenge, wait until they're actually dead." At these words, a chill ran through everyone present. At this moment, Ishikawa Nobu, who had been silent, suddenly stood and said to Feng Bao, "As the leader of the Ishikawa clan, and the organization managing Japan's ability users, as well as the current head of the Dragon Society, I, Ishikawa Nobu, admire your magnanimity." At this moment, Ishikawa Nobu, bowing respectfully, thought to himself, "This supreme king of Yanasan, like an abyss, yet also like a peak, and as free as a dragon, impossible to control or manipulate. At the very least, the relationship with this Nathan King must not be ruined under my watch." But just then, the sound of a door opening rang out. Under everyone's stunned gazes, the Real Nathan King walked into the hall. Zhang Chulan whispered to Feng Bao, who was sitting in the chair, "Sis, we're done. Stop pretending." Watching Feng Bao get up from the chair to leave, Ishikawa Nobu asked, "King, where are you going?" Feng Bao quickly replied, "I'm not the king. I was actually tricking you all." Hearing Feng Bao's words, everyone felt like strangling her. "So you've been messing with us this whole time?" Larry, nearby, was even more unable to accept it. "I just swore to serve the king for life. How did it change to someone else so suddenly?" After the Nathan King entered the room, looking at the bewildered crowd, he smiled and said, "I'm truly sorry. Whether you can accept it or not, I will give everyone a perfect explanation." Not long after, the Nathan King held a meeting in the conference room, explaining the full story. First, he admitted it was he who coerced the company's people to deceive everyone. He took full responsibility as the Nathan King. He sincerely said to everyone, "This was my mistake. I offer my deepest apologies to everyone. Of course, I didn't do this out of boredom to prank everyone. Everyone should be aware of what happened last night. Actually, I gathered everyone here to inform you of one thing, because the golden bow was broken." At these words, the crowd immediately began murmuring. The expressions of several high-ranking officials grew serious. The Nathan King continued, "I believe many here know what this means for what comes next. In other words, between me and the one who broke the golden bow, only one can survive. Those able to attend this meeting must have some understanding of Nathan Island. But the golden bow being broken is something that hasn't happened in centuries. I think it's necessary to explain to everyone. As everyone knows, there are two ways to inherit the throne of Nathan Island. The first is simple. After the current king dies, the sacred tree chooses a child born on the island as the new king. The second is through a voluntary challenge. Anyone can initiate it. In simple terms, killing the current king makes you the new king. But what I want to remind everyone of is, don't view the challenger's assassination attempts with too much emotional weight. This is just part of the throne succession ritual. From the moment I became the Nathan King, my life became part of this ritual. Everything is so the sacred tree can choose a king more worthy of it. This challenger, like me, is part of the throne succession ritual, and the first step they must take is to earn the qualification as a challenger. That is, they must personally break a branch of the sacred tree, also known as the golden bough. The golden bough is the qualification to challenge for the throne. The possessor of the golden bough, by causing my death in any way, can smoothly become the new Nathan King. The sacred tree in Nathan Island will belong to the new king. If I die by accident or am killed during this period, the challenge fails. The new king will be chosen by the sacred tree from among the children. As for whether my death is related to the challenger, that judgment is made by the sacred tree. It's very fair. This is the detailed explanation of the throne succession ritual. But please note, anyone can challenge my throne. That means more than one person can break the golden bough. If anyone here is interested in my throne, you're welcome to come to Nathan Island and break the golden bough. Of course, don't get caught. The golden bough has already been broken once, so the divine tree's guards are now stricter. They'll kill anyone trying to approach the tree without hesitation. In short, remember this. No matter how many break the golden bough, to become the new king, you must be the last one standing. Our Nathan Island ancestors made a pact with your predecessors that we'd abandon our former lands and stay out of your sight. Our duel must be witnessed by all of you. Correct? The golden bough was broken, but I still needed to honor the agreement to meet you all. However, I didn't know the challenger's identity, and showing up blindly would have been risky. So, I coerced a friend from the company to impersonate me, pulling a prank on you all. My intention was only to confirm if the other side had uncovered my true identity. Now that the situation's clear and my true face is revealed, there's no need for further probing. The throne succession ceremony officially begins now. Per Nathan Island's agreement with the world, the entire ceremony will be conducted openly, from now until it ends. Nathan Island is open to all of you. You can send people to visit the island anytime, and they won't be expelled. Of course, everyone knows Nathan Island's dangers. If you plan to visit, please ensure your own safety. My purpose for leaving the island is complete. For the bad experiences caused to everyone, and for putting some uninvolved people's lives at risk, I'm powerless to undo it and can only apologize again. My final promise to you all is, whether I kill the challenger or am killed by them, I'll complete this ceremony as quickly as possible. After the meeting ended, Lilia was on the phone, ordering an investigation into who threatened Larry. After hanging up, she said to the dejected Larry, "No one's given up, and you can't give up either. I believe your wife and daughter are still alive." But Larry replied, "It's not about that, madam. Never in my life have I felt like this. Not even when I reluctantly accepted the history of dark witchcraft. I feel utterly despicable right now." Lilia tried to comfort him, saying, "Stop blaming yourself. The Real King didn't hold you accountable after revealing herself. And didn't that girl who impersonated the king say, from your perspective, you didn't do anything wrong? You were coerced. Stop being so hard on yourself." Larry was silent for a moment before replying. It was her words that made me realize the problem. Right and wrong only make sense on a path between 2 points. If my greatest desire is my wife and daughter's safety, and I'd give up everything for them, then killing would be entirely justified. But besides my wife and daughter, is there really nothing else important in my life? What about my conscience? Isn't that important to me? If I look at this from my conscience's perspective, can I still say what I did was right? Meanwhile, on the other side, Ron reported the matter to his organization. After hanging up, he asked Colonel Besamos beside him, "What do you think of this?" The colonel replied, he'd personally go to the island to stop this bloody slaughter. Ron snorted at the words, then said gleefully, "How rare. Our hero actually agrees with the board for once." The next day, after making the throne succession public, the Nathan King planned to return to the island. Unexpectedly, she specifically asked Feng Baobao to see her off at the airport. At the farewell, the Nathan King said to Feng Baobao, "Feng Baobao, right? Your punch was really heavy." Feng Baobao immediately pointed at Su Si, saying, "He told me to hit anyone causing trouble. It's got nothing to do with me." The Nathan King, puzzled, asked, "I got you targeted for assassination because of me, yet you don't seem to hate me at all? You're such a strange person." Seeing Feng Baobao's blank look, the Nathan King hugged her and whispered in her ear, "I'm so sorry for dragging you into this." After letting go of Feng Baobao, the Nathan King apologized to Zhang Chulan and the others, then turned and left. But just as the Nathan Island group was about to board, Elijah seemed to say something to the king. Then he walked toward Zhang Chulan and the others. "Zhang Chulan, need a private chat?" Zhang Chulan said, "Whatever it is, just say it here." Elijah then spoke up. "You asked me about my employer's info before. I really didn't have anything to share, but you guys did help the king a lot this time. So as thanks, I'll tell you something about our island. As a Nathan Guard, I'm different from others. I actually care about our islanders. Unlike those without identities, I have channels to communicate with the outside world. My intel's pretty reliable. There's one person on the island I've always been curious about, but no matter how I try, I can't find any info on him. It's like he never existed in this world before coming to the island. His age, name, past, abilities. I've used countless connections and channels, but still nothing. All I know is he's appeared in many places around the world, spanning at least decades. The only thing I'm sure of is that he was once from your country. And one more thing, but to talk about it, I need to start with one of our islanders, Old Wong, playing chess with him." Old Wong cheerfully shouted toward a cave by the sea, "Come out for a game, Shichi." Then a bare-chested, chubby guy slowly walked out of the cave. Who is this chubby guy in the Nathan Island cave? Why does Old Wong call him Shichi? Right now, this chubby guy was playing chess with Old Wong, but halfway through, Old Wong mocked him. Shichi, you haven't improved one bit. Still a terrible player. Then he pulled out a snack pack and took a big bite. Shichi asked casually, you went to the market again? With my method, you're not starving anymore. Why bother going? Old Wong, munching, replied, this isn't about filling my stomach. You gotta switch up flavors to live, right? Don't worry about me. I'm not easy to mess with. Shichi retorted, stop bragging to me. Talk when your body's transformed. You've only learned my method for a short time. It's just enough to keep you fed. Then Shichi scratched his head and said, don't think 3 years here means you're adapted. Here's some advice. If you're not tired of living, stop wandering aimlessly. Old Wong burst out laughing and said, well, I didn't expect that. You care about me that much? Shichi picked up a chess piece, hesitating where to place it, and asked Old Wong, puzzled. There's one thing I've never figured out. Old Wong, why'd you come to this island? People who stay here are either homeless, crazy, or broken in body and mind. But you're the most peaceful and stable person I've met here. Besides the guards, I can't wrap my head around why someone like you is here. Old Wong laughed and replied, you said it. I'm at peace inside. If I'm at peace, does it matter where I am? Shichi then asked, didn't you say before you were something? Old Wong answered, in other people's words, I was a heretic master, using my tricks to deceive people. Back then, I fooled quite a few. Hearing this, Shichi slapped his own face and said helplessly, man, my life's been so miserable. Why do I always have ties with shady folks like you? Old Wong chuckled and said, that's exactly why now I'm just someone with nowhere to go. Hearing this, Shichi burst into loud laughter and replied, well then, I guess you deserve to be stuck here. Anyway, be careful out there. Live a few more years if you can. Not many of my friends are still alive now. Old Wong asked in a slightly angry tone, you still see me as a friend? You won't even tell me about your past or who you are. Is that how you treat your friends? Shichi paused, sighed, and said, you should be thankful. There aren't many left who can call me Shichi. You'll learn about me bit by bit. Just live another 30 years. Then I'll tell you everything. Old Wong laughed out loud. Stop joking with me. Do you even know how old I am? You're telling me I have 30 years left? You sure I can live that long? Shichi replied calmly. As long as you don't wander around the island seeking death, you'll make it another 30 years just fine. Old Wong joked back. Sounds like I'm only safe if I stick with you. But then Old Wong suddenly turned serious and pointed toward 2 people hiding in the distance. I remember when I visited you before. There was no one else around here but you. But Shichi said, ignore them. They mean no harm. Old Wong questioned, you're that sure? You've already interacted with them? Shichi's eyes turned cold as he replied, honestly, it doesn't matter anymore. I don't need to be sure. Because those with ill intent won't survive around me. Time shifts back to Zhang Chulan sending off the king of Nathan. After learning Shichi's whereabouts, she went to ask Boss Zhao for permission to go to Nathan Island. But Boss Zhao coldly refused. Zhang Chulan questioned him. Don't you understand what Yilia meant? She leaked Shichi's location to me on purpose. That means she's definitely connected to the people behind Ma Xianhong. But Boss Zhao replied, of course I understand that, but that doesn't matter right now. Then he asked Zhang Chulan, do you know what's happened? In just this one single day, groups like Yulong Society, Jadeite Academy, and Behemoth, they're all demanding access to the hotel surveillance footage after Feng Baobao's assassination attempt. Do you know how many times Air Zhuang and the I blocked hacking attempts? Truth is, they're not even interested in the attack. What interests them is that with such tight security, Feng Baobao still got attacked. They want to know about La Rue's ability, and beyond that. In such a short time, I've received reports that rumors are being spread, claiming our company orchestrated both the assassination attempt and the fake king incident. Maybe in your eyes, Ma Xianhong's true identity and the whole body double and Feng Baobao situation are the most important things. But Zhang Chulan, understand this. The world doesn't revolve around you and Feng Baobao. Helping Feng Baobao is just a favor. If you make things inconvenient, then I have no reason to help. And if worse comes to worst, not just inconvenient, but troublesome, you know the consequences. Seeing Zhang Chulan deep in thought after his words, Boss Zhao told her to sit down. Then, softening his tone, he continued, let me explain it to you like this. We found Ma Xianhong's family, but they don't remember anything from back then. There's a blank in everyone's memory. They've completely forgotten about Ma Xianhong. Even Ma Binzai's heir, Ma Yuanlu, has completely forgotten everything about Xinji Balian. You get what that means, right? The force behind Ma Xianhong has existed for more than a decade. After hearing President Zhao's words, Zhang Chulan lowered his head and said, you're right, President Zhao. Everything you said is right. Seeing Zhang Chulan like that, President Zhao comforted him. All right. I understand how you feel, but we must consider the bigger picture. The situation is very sensitive right now, so we mustn't act rashly. But just as she finished speaking, she saw Zhang Chulan's tear-streaked, sobbing face. It gave President Zhao quite a scare. He said flusteredly, why are you crying just because I scolded you a little? Is it that serious? Zhang Chulan, while wiping his tears, answered, it's very serious. It's all my fault. I didn't consider your perspective. But you said I don't care about the company. That part one don't accept. President Zhao quickly asked, oh, so you're saying I was wrong? Then Zhang Chulan began to argue. What is the company anyway? It's just an empty shell. Why would I care? But I care about the people in the company. Third brother, fourth brother, everyone. Especially you. You've treated me so well. How could I not care? If you said I care about you the most, that's nonsense. But you're not just my boss. You're someone I truly respect. Even if I put myself first, you'd still be top 5 or 6 at least. President Zhao responded quickly. Oh really? That's a pretty high rank. Then Zhang Chulan pouted and said pitifully, this time it really is my fault. My attitude at work was wrong. I'll definitely fix it. Everything you said was right. But when I heard you say I didn't care about everyone here, I just felt wronged. President Zhao replied grumpily. What now? Am I the one who wronged you? Should I apologize to you? Hurry up and get out. Don't wipe your big snot on my couch. Back at the dorm, Zhang Chulan sighed and lay on the bed. Zhang Lingyu came over and scolded. Zhang Chulan, can you have some shame? Those clerical tasks were your responsibility, and you shamelessly dumped it all on Sister Bao. Zhang Chulan explained impatiently. Sure Shu, you don't understand. Sister Bao is a goddess of spreadsheets. Besides, I'm really not in the mood for that now. While the two were talking, Zhang Chulan's phone suddenly rang. It turned out to be a call from President Zhao. After answering the call, Zhang Chulan sprang up from bed. To her surprise, President Zhao on the phone actually asked her to go to Nathan Island in her own name. Zhang Chulan quickly asked in confusion, why the sudden change of mind? President Zhao explained, previously I didn't want you to go because things were calm. Our company couldn't be the first to stir the waters. Even if we went as observers to the island, we could only defend ourselves. No extra actions whatsoever. But now the situation has changed. Just now because of Simos. They formally notified other organizations. They said that Nathan Island's bloody and violent king selection ritual violates modern human civilization's values. They stated that Simos absolutely cannot tolerate it. So, their board made a unanimous decision. Simos will land on Nathan Island. To stop this atrocity, they even threatened that, if necessary, they would take over the entire Nathan Island. Simos, the self-proclaimed world police of the United States, is using the excuse of stopping Nathan Island's bloody king selection ritual. Zhang Chulan was at the company, reviewing information about Nathan Island's residents. The data Zhang Chulan was looking at was about the old king from Elijah's memories, the one playing chess with 17. The old king's full name was Wang Guoping. He was 56 when he arrived on the island. He once used the soul-writing method of the tongue to deceive people for money and women under the guise of taking disciples. After his schemes were exposed, he kept fleeing. During this time, his family faced retaliation from victims. 3 years ago, it was confirmed he had arrived on Nathan Island. At this point in the data, Zhao suddenly instructed Zhang Chulan, you must memorize all of this. You can share relevant information with colleagues, but be careful not to let too many people know that you have details about Nathan Island. Looking at the screen, Zhang Chulan asked in disbelief, are these all people who came from our side? Good grief. These are people from decades ago. Zhao replied. There are even earlier ones, but we don't have that intelligence. You know, when someone arrives on the island, they face the Nathan Guard and choose whether to stay. Once they decide to become an islander, the Nathan Guard investigates their background and notifies their home government to cancel the identity of those who stay. Zhang Chulan then asked, so, are there people who got to the island without being discovered? Zhang Chulan said, I'm not entirely sure, but my grandfather gave up his identity as Zhang Huai and lived in hiding his whole life. And Su Xin, like a living corpse, spent decades in the hall. During those decades of wandering the world, even the Nathan Guard couldn't trace his identity. It's hard not to make connections. After saying this, Zhang Chulan turned to Zhao and asked, why don't these files include Nathan Island's location? How am I supposed to get there? Zhao gave him a sidelong glance. Why are you asking me? Hearing this, Zhang Chulan panicked. He hurriedly said, come on Zhao, you're the one sending me. But Zhao said, don't talk nonsense here. I didn't tell you to go. You insisted on going yourself. This has nothing to do with me or the company. Our company does have channels to Nathan Island, but those are for official business only. They have nothing to do with you. Besides, if you don't even have the means to get to Nathan Island, you'd better give up on the idea of going. One more thing to remind you. You'd better hurry. The king or the challenger could be killed at any moment. This could be a long battle, but it's also possible that while we were just talking, the throne has already changed hands. If a new king emerges once it's settled, Nathan Island will seal itself off again. Then you'll have no chance to get there. After leaving Zhao's office, Zhang Chulan started making calls to gather people. The first person he called was Wang Yi. After learning Zhang Chulan's intentions, Wang Yi asked, you're not planning to bring Ling Yuzhenren this time? Seems pretty dangerous, huh? Zhang Chulan replied, yeah, the stakes of this whole thing are on a completely different level from what we've faced before, and it's in a totally unfamiliar environment. To be honest, I don't have any confidence at all. Put it bluntly, if we go, we need to be prepared for total annihilation. That's why I don't want to drag my martial uncle along. Wang Yi angrily retorted, then I really have to thank you, you little brat, for calling me first. You sure don't mind risking me, huh? Hearing this, Zhang Chulan didn't seem to care. Now that you know the deal, you can't back out now, right? Wang Ye's face darkened instantly. He cursed outright, you little punk. You're the king of sly bastards. But I'm caught up in some trouble right now. I'll be straight with you. I can't go. Go ahead. Not wanting to waste another word with this punk, Wang Yi hung up the phone. Learning that Wang Yi couldn't go, Zhang Chulan turned to the Lu siblings. After understanding Zhang Chulan's purpose, Lu Ling thought for a moment and said, then it's confirmed. The one behind Elijah in the 24 solar terms story is the person backing Ma Xianhong, and this period he mentioned is also very suspicious. Lu Linglong nearby quickly chimed in. Bro, we've got to check it out. Lu Ling glanced at Zhang Chulan and said, Zhang Chulan, you're pretty trustworthy. But Zhang Chulan replied, I'm not that kind-hearted. Nathan Island is a death trap. Me and Sister Bao don't dare jump in alone. That's why I'm trying to drag you guys in. But you'd better think it through. Lu Linglong pointed at her eyes and said, Zhang Chulan, look at our eyes. I'll keep my promise to you forever. Anything related to Ma Xianhong, or that bastard behind him, you have to tell us. If there's action, you must bring me along. I don't care about your motives, but at least you've kept your word to us. Also, you don't need to worry about how to get to Nathan Island. Our friends come from all walks of life. One call can sort it out. Go ahead. Lu Linglong picked up the phone and called someone named Zong Long. She asked, do you know about an overseas place called Nathan Island? But Zong Long said, what Nathan Island? I don't know. I've never even heard of it. Lu Linglong, undeterred, pressed on. Not even a little bit. Even rumors would do. Doesn't have to be precise. Zong Long replied, I really don't know. Would I hide anything from you, Linglong? If I knew, I'd tell you. Seeing Lu Linglong about to hang up, Zong Long, hey, Linglong, don't hang up yet. If such a place really exists, give me a few days, and I'll definitely find some leads. If time's too tight, I can recommend someone who might know. If even he doesn't know, then that place is probably just a rumor. The Yaoxing Society he founded after returning doesn't just focus on our homeland, but he's a very low-key guy. If anyone might know about this place you're talking about, he's the only one I can think of. Lu Linglong replied excitedly. If it's Chu Tong, I can probably get in touch through someone. Hearing Yaoxing Society and Chu Tong, Zhang Chulan found them vaguely familiar. Suddenly, he remembered. Su Sin had once mentioned to him that someone claiming to be from Yaoxing Society had come to interview them. He immediately said to Lu Linglong, don't contact Chu Tong yet, only as a last resort. Since Nathan Island is such a shady place, let's ask some shady characters instead. With that, he dialed Xia Liuqing's number. Xia Liuqing, shopping at a supermarket, was dumbfounded when he got the call. What's this about Nathan Island? You little monkey. What kind of trouble are you stirring up now? Hearing that Xia Liuqing didn't know, Zhang Chulan started brushing it off. No big deal. Grandpa Xia, I'm just asking casually, you know. By the way, sending regards to you and Grandma. Grandma's doing well, right? Xia Liuqing replied. She's doing fine. We're both fine. By the way, you said this island's overseas, right? Hold on a sec. But by then, Zhang Chulan had already hung up. As the three looked at each other, unsure of what to do next, Zhang Chulan's phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. When Zhang Chulan answered, a familiar voice came through. Zhang, you're inquiring about Nathan Island, aren't you? Recognizing the voice, Zhang Chulan hurriedly asked, is that you, Mr. Baron? But Baron replied, if you're heading to Nathan Island, come to the meeting point I mentioned. I'm about to leave soon. 1 hour later, the Lu siblings, Sister Bao, and Zhang Chulan, 4 in total, arrived at the meeting point. Baron was already waiting on a ship, having been there for some time. After boarding, Zhang Chulan asked Baron, are you going to Nathan Island too? Is it related to Besamos? Baron responded, I don't care at all why you're going there. I just think a ship this big shouldn't just be for me alone. It'd be such a waste to go alone. What Zhang Chulan didn't expect was, the one who sent Baron to Nathan Island was William Spencer from the European Emerald Association. After learning the mission, Baron immediately said, this is beyond what I can handle. But Spencer replied, that doesn't matter. You just need to get there as soon as possible. Whether you complete the task or not, we won't hold you accountable for what you've done before. It must suck sneaking back into your own country. Baron responded flatly, you bastard. You knew I was going to such an exciting place. How could I possibly not get involved? William simply said, it's not limited to my request. You can do whatever you want there. I trust that nasty curiosity of yours, and your boundless energy. At that, Baron asked, you didn't just ask me alone, did you? Spencer replied, of course not. But you're the one I have the most faith in. At that moment, with Baron's help, Zhang Chulan and his group had resolved the issue of landing on the island. They were now leisurely sipping coffee on the boat. In casual conversation, Zhang Chulan spoke up. Baron, I won't pry into your business, but you know about Behemoth, right? What kind of people are they? Baron replied calmly. You folks call yourselves artisans, right? Wizards, alchemists, chi practitioners, onmyoji, etc. No matter how unusual or strange the powers you possess, you all have one thing in common. What you pursue all your life is personal growth. We can only train and refine ourselves, which is why organizations made up of us can only be run by our own kind, because ordinary people can't understand or deal with this kind of self-torturing behavior. But Behemoth is different. They treat people like us as a research subject. Their goal is to use technological means to replicate the extraordinary powers in us, so their upper ranks don't even need to be like us. They have other criteria for selecting their top members. Zhang Chulan asked curiously, what kind of criteria? Baron chuckled and uttered one word, money. The result of the money and tech they poured in, FP. It's a drug that can stimulate the body's latent potential. Supposedly the side effects are severe. If it doesn't work, most of Behemoth are either bought off or products of the FP series. They've been trying all along to increase the drug's success rate. As far as I know, they're now on their 12th generation. Have you heard of Hero Sean? In our artisan circle, he's like a celebrity. It's said that he's the only survivor of the SPE experiment. Meanwhile, the Hero Sean that Baron mentioned had already arrived above Nathan Island ahead of time and was preparing to take over the island.